Today on
Doomed!
Today we will go inside the shady world of influencers promoting cryptocurrency. You might have seen social media stars, prominent YouTubers, your favorite game streamer promoting all sorts of different tokens and coins and crypto. What's going on here? What's the deal? Is it all a scam? We will break this all down tonight on this episode of Doomed with Matt Binder. Let me just pull myself up on the screen here for all of you lovely people who are currently watching live on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm a little bit late if you are a live viewer of the show, if you're watching in the live stream, because just as we were about to go live here tonight, for this episode where I already was planning on talking about this report that I recently wrote for Mashable about all of these alternative cryptocurrencies, also known as altcoins, that are being promoted by all these big social media influencers with millions of followers all across their different platforms. News broke where a number of prominent influencers who are part of the esports organization FaZe Clan were suspended, and one of them was even kicked out of the team moments before we went live because of these cryptocurrency scandals here. People have been giving me props on Twitter. I appreciate it. I'm not going to take all the credit. I think it helped to have I haven't seen any other mainstream outlet cover it, so it helped to have a respected tech outlet cover it. But I also want to give props to, there have been numerous YouTubers because this is mainly a thing that was going on within these big social media influencers, and a lot of times, unfortunately, the media, besides a few really great reporters, like I was just speaking before, she was replying to me she was giving me props on Twitter, Taylor Lorenz. Other than just a few people, this world is mostly ignored, even though this is the mainstream for so many young people. I mean, if you have kids who are in their preteens, or even younger, actually, or their teens, or, I'm trying to think, like my kid watches this one YouTuber he really likes, Zach Scott, who plays video games, but he doesn't hawk this stuff, and he even makes sure that his language is PG, so his content is good for kids. But this is the mainstream for kids. These YouTubers and social media influencers, their favorite TikTok stars. So, I think, it was important to have certain YouTubers, such as, I want to give props to Def Noodles. Some Ordinary Gamer was on this. And CoffeeZilla, who I believe was the one who made a video today that is the reason why they decided to punish one member, or now former member of FaZe Clan, more than the ones they suspended. I think he really laid the case on this one guy. Whereas in my piece, I sort of looked at the whole thing as a whole. Then you might be thinking to yourself, I don't usually on this show, Matt usually on this show, he covers, weird internet culture as relates to politics and news and the broader like societal issues, but this is that, especially when we're dealing with cryptocurrency. And as you all probably have seen by now, if you follow me on social media, I've been no advocate of the crypto space. I think it's the whole entire space from Bitcoin down is questionable at the very least. And we'll get more into the entire crypto space, I'm sure, on future episodes, especially, I've definitely done episodes on how I think the last episode of last year, 2020, was a great episode where my guest, Emmy Bevan, I don't want to mess up her last name, but Emmy basically laid down the details on how the far-right extremists were using decentralized platforms like the various crypto currencies and blockchains. But I think this piece really should shine a light, at the very least, on this space and how it's not being regulated. This is, people like to say, oh, remember when the internet was the wild, wild west? Well, it still is in different industries. And in the cryptocurrency space, you will be shocked at how much anything goes. It's just incredible. And what we're about to talk through, I laid this out in the piece. I think it's a lot easier to lay this specific thing out in writing. So I want to say this up front. You will hear about various different levels of shadiness. Some people we will talk about today will not have been involved in a premeditated fashion. I don't think some people we're about to talk about know quite what they did. I'm not saying they shouldn't face any consequences. In the law, obviously, a judge would not let, oh, I didn't know that was the law fly. That's not how a defense works. But I think the level of intent does matter somewhat, because there are people we're going to talk about who absolutely had the intent to scam their huge fan base for short-term monetary profit. And I think it's important to talk about all of them. I think it's important to be aware of the various different things going on here. But also, I think you should be especially aware of... Well, now, I want to also point out, we are talking about some big names here. You will probably, if you're not someone in this world... I mean, I got to be honest. I was tangentially aware of some of the people we are going to talk about today. Simply because I pay attention to this world, because I do think it dovetails into my beats a lot. But I am not someone who usually covers the big mainstream influencers. I'm not someone who usually covers makeup YouTube and what's going on in the drama of all these influencers and when they're beefing with each other. I'm not Keemstar. And we'll talk about Keemstar too. But these people, to their fans, are the equivalent. Let me use an example. FaZe Clan, who is the reason I'm late. They just broke this news of kicking out members because of this stuff. FaZe Clan this month were just featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine, the first ever esports organization to grace the cover of a mainstream sports news outlet. These guys are the equivalent of, I don't know, to their fans, the equivalent of what LeBron James is to basketball. These are the biggest names you can find in the gaming world, the competitive gaming world, and in the live streaming, like the Twitch world of the video game industry as well. And so Melissa in the YouTube chat says, can you talk about the El Salvador president and the shady anonymous Bitcoin bigwigs doing in that one, what the shady anonymous Bitcoin bigwigs are doing in that country? Honestly, I want to save that for another episode, because I've been on that too. So we probably won't get into the El Salvador Bitcoin thing on this episode. Honestly, I think it is an entire episode on its own. What we'll be focusing on today are meme coins, shit coins, as they're also called, and the more mainstream way to refer to them is altcoins, alternative cryptocurrency, and what makes them altcoins. So basically, let's break this down first. You're probably all aware of Bitcoin. It's the most popular of the cryptocurrencies. It basically created the space. It's been around since, what was it, 2000, at the top of my head, it's, I think, 2009, but don't quote me. It's in that area, either between 2008, 2010, I want to say 2009. And when Bitcoin came out and created this fever in this space, like, oh, this is the future. This is going to be, this is going to be where it all goes. Other people decided to get into this. And there are some, people will argue what is legitimate in the crypto space, because the crypto space seems illegitimate from its very core. But there are more legitimate cryptocurrency projects, like, people who are actually trying to create something in that world that isn't a scam, I guess. There's Ethereum, there's various other cryptocurrencies and blockchains, but what really helped the altcoin space, and I spoke to Dave Gerard, who's a great cryptocurrency reporter. I will have him on this show for the piece, and he is probably the most prominent cryptocurrency critic. He is really great. I spoke to him for this piece, and he basically laid out how this is actually the altcoin scams have been going back since 2011 at the very least. Basically, in his viewpoint, once people were able to exchange Bitcoin for money, like real money, the second Bitcoin wasn't just a digital currency. The second crypto, like Bitcoin, could be exchanged on cryptocurrency exchanges for actual hard, cold cash in the United States. You'd get USD, US dollars, fiat money. The second you could do that, that is when the scammers came out of the woodwork and decided, hey, we can make a fortune here. And so you had altcoins going back to 2011. He said the earliest one he could find that was an outright scam from the get-go was something called Xcoin. And how we get from there to the current world. Oh, Cameron mentioning Mount Gox. That's another whole other episode. We'll get into that another day too. How we get from the early core world of the early days of cryptocurrency to today is basically, if you haven't noticed from Elon Musk's tweets, it's Dogecoin. It was created, I believe, in 2013 as a joke. One of its creators said, this is a joke coin. He wanted to show just how ridiculous the space was, so he created Dogecoin. In fact, years ago, before it blew up, he actually sold off all of his Dogecoin. I'm sure he made a little bit of money, but he definitely did not make out like a bandit like you could if you sold today. But he just got out of it. He thought it was so ridiculous that it was even his joke coin was taking off. So people have seen Dogecoin take off, especially this past year when it went from below a penny to, I was at a peak in May, just we're now in July, just 2 months ago. It hit a peak of 70 cents, almost approaching $1, because people like Elon Musk pumping it up. People saw that happen. And so out came all these altcoins. It reinvigorated the space. You have coins that are basically trying to, and Elon Musk was pumping one of those new coins up today. If you saw his tweet, still to this day, Elon Musk pumping up these coins. He was tweeting about Baby Doge, which is basically, I mean, it couldn't make it any more obvious, an altcoin trying to piggyback off the success of Dogecoin. And it just names itself Baby Doge. And Elon Musk helped them double in value. I haven't checked what it was at now. I haven't checked if the dump happened yet. But he was sure helping the pump. I mean, he caused the pump. At least the ones that happened today. And so you have this entire new crypto niche here, these altcoins. They're usually built on already existing blockchains, like, you know, the Binance chain, or they're built on Ethereum's blockchain. And basically what that means is, because they're built on those blockchains, in order to buy into these cryptocurrencies, these altcoins, you have to jump through hoops. Now, I have told you guys before on this show, full disclosure, I have, just to try it out, couple bucks here and there just to go through the entire process of buying these altcoins. It is ridiculous. You basically have to send your money to a prominent exchange, such as Coinbase. You get whatever cryptocurrency you need that's the main cryptocurrency on those existing blockchains, whether it be Ethereum or BNB, which is Binance's token. You'd use those cryptocurrencies to then exchange for usually, and this is a whole nother world to talk about, a stable coin like Tether. And then once you, and again, a whole nother episode, you should look up Tether, by the way. Tether is a stable coin that a lot of crypto critics say is basically an entire scam in and of itself. The New York State, the New York State Attorney General just fined that the company behind Tether. They came to a settlement. It was big. You know, a lot of people say, well, the stable coin's a whole other thing. Let's not get there quite on this episode. And you do that, you buy that, and then you exchange that for this altcoin. And I want to let you guys know, throughout this entire process, you are getting hit with transaction fee after transaction fee every single time you make an exchange, up until the point where you're even buying that final altcoin that you wanted to begin with. You would think this would be good because it deters people from the process. I've not seen that be the case. Maybe that's what's stopping the mainstream from buying into this, which, good, but it is not stopping people who have just a little bit of tech savvy from falling for this stuff. So you buy this stuff. You get these coins because your favorite influencer told you to. And you believe them because why would they lie to you? You've watched them for years, millions of followers. They got to be, to have that fan base and to make all this, you see them getting multi-million-dollar deals from all sorts of different brands. They got to be, they wouldn't try to scam you. They're not criminals. You know them. It's the power of social relationships that social media helps create with fans, with influencers and their fan base, I should say. But you feel like you know them, so you trust them. You hear an influencer tell you to invest in this coin. You go out of your way to do it. You're going to make a little bit of money, right? In almost every instance I came across in my reporting. Honestly, I say almost just to be safe. I can't think off the top of my head an instance I came upon where this is not the outcome of an altcoin. Is there an altcoin out there where this didn't happen? I think I might have seen one or two that I didn't cover in this piece, but the ones that I saw these prominent influencers promote, I should say, this was the case literally like pretty much every time. They have their fan base buy. You bought it. It wasn't only you. Hundreds, if not thousands, of their followers did as well. Some of them may have had could only afford $10, maybe $50, maybe $100. Maybe they put $1,000, $2,000, $10,000. Who knows how much? They're getting in early, right? It can only go up from here. Look how much people are making off Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Ethereum and Litecoin. How can I not make out like a bandit somehow? Because these coins are worth, when you're buying in, 0.0000, so literally like 6 or 7 or sometimes even 8 zeros before you hit a number 1 or something like that. Multiple decimal places. So they pump it up. You buy. Their entire fan base who's into this stuff buys. There are people holding a majority of these altcoins. And when you buy in, because a lot of times they didn't put their own money into it, a lot of times these major holders are the founders themselves who created the altcoin, developers, their friends who they've sold to the presale, who maybe did put a little bit of money in to buy at the presale price that you didn't know about, because the presale price is the lowest price this is going to go for, at even lower than launch most times. And you don't know about it, obviously, because you didn't know about this coin yet, because the influencer didn't tell you about it yet, because they're also a lot of times taking advantage of the presale. And if they're not buying in with their own money at the presale price, they are given free tokens as payment. So you have this going on, and it goes live. You buy in because your favorite influencers told you that you're watching the value rise up 10, 20 minutes into this, 30 minutes into this, an hour into this, maybe if you're lucky, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. If they don't already start dumping, all of a sudden, price goes straight down. You see it dwindling. Oh, what's going on? Oh, it's got to go back up, right? No, keeps going. Keeps going. Oh, maybe I'll buy a little bit more. You know, they always say buy the dips, right? Maybe this is my chance to buy it at a sale price and it'll go back up and I'll make even more money, right? Nope. Keeps going down. Keeps going down. Keeps going down. What are you going to do? You're going to sell? No, you're not going to sell. You're going to hold because you can't afford to lose that much money. It's got to go back up, right? Keeps going down. Keeps going down. What's going on here? So those people who held the majority of the coin at launch, they always intended, a lot of them, I should say, intended to sell off as soon as they felt like it reached its peak. This is quick money. So they are immediately getting rid of everything, complete sell-off. And they remember, they are holding the majority of this token. They got the big wallets. They call them whales. So when that happens, when that massive sell-off happens, it has it completely tanks the coin. Now, some projects that aren't intended for this to happen, sometimes they will hit a point where it's like the base. That's like the lowest point it'll go. There were enough holders to keep it steady, and maybe it'll go back up, or maybe it'll just flounder in an area. You maybe you could recoup some of your investment. You never know with that coin that happened. But you don't know if the coin you got is gonna be that altcoin. But if this was a project intended for that pump and dump, if this was always the purpose of this project for the founder to essentially scam everybody and to enrich some influencers to help them scam everybody so they could walk away with your money, then that shit's dead right after that dump. Your investment is gone, wiped out, project is kaput. Now, and you should know that this is how it works, by the way. If you are making money in cryptocurrency, where's that money coming from? Your gains are coming from people who are losing, who sold at a loss or are still holding. I mean, you can argue that's how the stock market works, sure. I'm not advocating for the stock market, though. I think this whole financial investment system is quite shady. But at least with the stock market, there are regulations. Sure, again, there are people who find loopholes and are doing shady, but there are regulations. You do see, the book thrown at people a lot of times for shady business in the finance industry. But also there is something you can look at to try to determine stocks to invest in. I mean, I get that the meme stocks with GameStop and AMC have sort of changed the game a bit. But again, you can look at that and you could say, GameStop's an actual business. It exists. You can physically go to a GameStop. You can look at their books. You can see they put out their quarterly reports. You can see what they're doing, how much money they're making. You can determine, this is their plan, their business plan, and how they're going to continue, how they're going to take their business to the next level. You could decide not to invest because you don't think it is a sound business venture. You can invest because you do think there's a sound business venture. With cryptocurrency, especially these altcoins, there's nothing there. Sure, you can read a white paper that these altcoin projects put out, but what's behind that? You don't know. So many, you're literally just entrusting just what is on that paper. There's so little out there. In fact, a lot of times, these altcoin projects are run anonymously. You have no idea who's behind them. I mean, Bitcoin itself, they still don't know who Satoshi is. There are altcoins that do put a name behind them, and you can maybe hope that means they're a more trustworthy venture, but that's not always the case either, as we'll get into. So what do we talk about first? Where do we go first here? I guess we should start with, I just got signed out of YouTube. 1 second. I want to make sure there's not an issue with me being signed out. I don't think there is because I'm still streaming, but let me sign back in. I don't want. Thanks a lot, Google. Perfect timing. Okay. All right. They're making me sign into my YouTube account now because my YouTube channel is a separate account and not tied to my email address. Really, really helping me out here, Google. Perfect timing for all this. All right, live. Back in. All right, we're good. I just didn't want any issues in case I was signed out. All right, let's get back. Let's start with FaZe. Now, again, we're about to talk about many different FaZe Clan members. It is tricky to find out the intent of some of them. I don't believe, from what I've seen, all of them had malicious intent. Again, whether that doesn't matter in terms of consequences, but you should know, and we should be transparent about this. I don't believe everyone we're talking about has malicious intent. That said, there will be some people who did, but I can't prove it, and the people who I've seen also report on this stuff haven't been able to prove it either. No, I should shout out those people I've seen who are on top of this in the YouTube space. Def Noodles, although he wasn't on this FaZe Clan one, but Def Noodles, DEF Noodles, great on tracking a lot of these cryptocurrency schemes we'll get to after the FaZe stuff. Another person I saw talk about the FaZe stuff was some ordinary gamer who I actually previously came across when I was doing a piece on a conspiracy theory that spread via TikTok's For You page. I'll get to that one another day too. So much to talk about. And CoffeeZilla, who had a fantastic video that released today that, in my estimation, is the reason why FaZe had to kick out one of their members instead of just suspending him like the rest of the FaZe Clan members they decided to punish. So, FaZe Clan, huge esports organization. Again, like I mentioned earlier, these guys were just on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. First ever esports group to do so. These guys, LeBron James of the video game streaming and competitive gaming world. And a lot of FaZe Clan members promoted altcoins. And the trajectory here, is just how I laid out earlier. FaZe Clan members tweet about a coin. They usually say something to the effect of, I just came across this great project. I really believe in it. I'm going to do a giveaway. They do that a lot, give out free altcoins, a specific coin to promote it. They also sometimes, and these are the altcoins, not the FaZe guys, the altcoins, if there's not a meme tied to them, like if they're not Baby Doge or Shiba Inu or Elon Doge or all these other altcoins that are out there, if they're not tied to a meme, if that's not the marketing angle they go for, then a lot of them go for the charity angle. You might be asking, what? Charity angle in crypto? What? What are you talking about, Matt? Yeah. This is how it works, and let's talk about Save the Kids first, because that's what this whole FaZe Clan thing's about. So the charity angle for altcoins. Let's use Save the Kids as the example. So Save the Kids was a coin that launched on June 5th. FaZe Clan members were promoting this coin even before it officially launched, saying, I'm working on this really great project that's coming out. Follow this Telegram channel to hear more about it soon. And what happened was, I should say what the charity coin thing is first, So the Save the Kids marketing scheme was, you buy into this coin and a percentage, sort of like a tax, a percentage of the transactions, which is the purchases, sell-offs, a percentage goes to a children's charity. I mean, this should be a red flag to anyone who know how scams work. Whether it's, and I had a fantastic Ponzi scheme expert who wrote a great book She's a professor at John Jay. Mary Springer. She spoke to me for this piece. She thinks this space is filled with Ponzi schemes, multi-level marketing schemes, like pyramid schemes, and that some of these are probably both. This should be red flags. If you are taking money out of an investment to put into something else, I mean, how does that work, right? But the charity angle brings people in. Oh, I get to invest, make a little money while also helping kids. That's wonderful. So it's a great marketing point if you're not familiar with how these things usually go. So these FaZe Clan members and some YouTubers too started promoting Save the Kids token. And let me pull up this tweet from FaZe Clan. So who got punished today? We have made the decision to remove K from FaZe Clan and have suspended Jarvis, Nikan, and Tico until further notice. FaZe Clan had absolutely no involvement with our members' activity in the cryptocurrency space, and we strongly condemn their recent behavior. We trust and respect our fans. The trust and respect of our fans has been and will always be our number one priority. Okay, so I saw a lot of people asking, why did this happen to them? And this is what happened. So the coin is promoted by everyone I just mentioned, plus YouTubers like RiceGum, who's another YouTuber who's friends with the FaZe Clan. And they promote this coin. It launches on June 5th. It goes from 0.000 whatever it was to a high of 2 cents. Now, again, that might not sound like a lot. How much of a pump and dump can you get at 2 cents? Well, here's the deal. If you buy these coins at this low price, you get a lot in return. So it makes people feel like they're big players. So you could put a small investment and get millions, if not hundreds of millions, if not billions, in the altcoin itself. And so people like to see, I just put a couple $100 in, and I'm a save the kids billionaire. I'm gonna put more in. There's no way I'm gonna lose in this. So when you're talking billions of tokens at 2 cents each, people could walk away with a hefty bag here. So Save the Kids token launches June 5th. People are buying in. They see K and Nikan and Tico and Jarvis promoting this altcoin. Whoa, all my favorite FaZe Clan members. And they buy in. They trust these guys. And, people trust people their fans out. The power of social relationships of social media I just mentioned earlier. Almost immediately, I'm talking within a few hours, the coin completely tanks. It just nosedive. It hits no point where it ever has a chance of possibly finding that base where it could latch onto, where more people buy in and hold on to and hoping of making an investment. Coin just nosedives. Just honestly worthless. And then just 2 weeks later, an amazing thing happens in their Telegram channel. Let me pull this up right now. All of a sudden, in their Telegram channel, just a few weeks later, June 17th, a moderator of the Telegram channel explains that the dev responsible for building the coin, all the technical stuff, hasn't been able to reach the founder. The founder of Save the Kids has bounced, disappeared, taken all the funding, and just vanished. And the dev, Lucas, who, from what we understand so far, was hired. He was a contracted developer, hired to complete this. From what we know from CoffeeZilla's report, On YouTube, he was paid about $10,000. He says he's trying to see if he could save the Save the Kids token, but seems like the coin is dead. The project's abandoned. What happened here? Well, if you're not sure how shady this is quite yet, you just needed to go to the Twitter accounts for all those FaZe Clan members I just mentioned. Faze K, FaZe Nikan, FaZe Jarvis, FaZe Tico. All their Save the Kids promotion, all those tweets pumping up this project they believed in, a great endeavor where we're going to raise some money for kids. Just gone. Content deleted. Tweets deleted. Not only that, the Save the Kids website all of a sudden edited, removes Tico, K, Rice Gum, Jarvis, Nikon, removes them as ambassadors. No idea they were ever even involved in the project anymore, because this that you see right there on the screen that lists the influencers who are backing this coin, gone. What's next? Also removed all the promotions that were listed on the website. All these you're seeing right here. Announcement: I'm the third ambassador of the new charity altcoin. That's from Tico, Rice Gum. Super excited to be the ambassador for Save the Kids. This is going to be one of the biggest charity tokens ever. FaZe Jarvis, excited to announce Save the Kids launches tomorrow. This project's going to change lives, be part of the movement. All that stuff, gone. Not on the website anymore. Not on their Twitter accounts either, like I said. This marketing video that they had up, you should watch this. Let me put the sound up. This was on the Save the Kids website, a video featuring these FaZe Clan members and YouTubers.
My name's Frazier.
My name's Jarvis.
I'm Tico. I'm Rice Gum.
I'm Nikon.
And I support Save the Kids token.
Save the Kids token.
Save the Kids token.
Save the Kids token. Save the Kids token.
Redistributing the wealth to both holders and charities. Redistributing the wealth. That's funny. That video gone. Not on the website anymore. If I didn't pull it, and other YouTubers like Def Noodles and CoffeeZilla didn't pull it, there'd be no proof that video was up. What happened? Now, it became pretty clear that big holders of this coin bounced once it went up. Once all the influence promoted the coin and it started to rocket to that 2 cents of value, those whales who were holding billions of this Save the Kids token were like, oh shit, I can make some real money here. Let's get out of this. And if you weren't thinking that from just seeing it go up, if you were someone involved that had malicious intent, you were saying, this is what I always intended, here we go. Now, CoffeeZilla, YouTuber who put out the video, who I think is hands down the reason why FaZe K got booted out of FaZe Clan instead of just getting suspended. Props to everyone who's done work. I just think the CoffeeZilla video really nails FaZe K. Now, he's not able to prove from his work that the other FaZe Clan members were involved at a point where they had malicious intent from the get-go. Doesn't mean they didn't. We just don't know. So, that's how it works. I'm not going to speculate. What we know, though, is that CoffeeZilla found FaZe K's wallet. And now I was always extremely I was looking into FaZe K specifically too. I thought there was something more going on with K, because this guy was incredible. Whereas these other influencers, maybe promoting a coin here and there, maybe they just promoted one, maybe two, maybe three, whatever. FaZe K was probably the most prolific prolific altcoin promoter I came across. There was no one pushing just the absurd amount of cryptocurrency he was. And I just grabbed a quick compilation of all of some of these tweets. There were many more. We got our Richie Rich coin, Moon Portal, Safe Galaxy token, one of my favorites, another charity token that was supposedly put together to raise awareness for breast cancer, Tits coin. He just promoted so many, and each one of them is a project he believed in. Great team behind it. I'm with them for the long term, as he wrote for Moon Portal. Now, CoffeeZilla found his wallet, and in cryptocurrency, thanks to the blockchain, if you know someone's wallet address, now the wallet itself is anonymous. You have no idea who owns a wallet. Someone could own multiple wallets. That's why, some people who we can't claim had malicious intent, maybe they did. Maybe they have a hidden wallet somewhere. We just don't know. But FaZe K had previously let his wallet be known publicly. So once you know what someone's wallet is, you can then look at all the transactions they've made via that wallet. And what CoffeeZilla found was a history of FaZe K getting in on a token, an altcoin early. Whether he was given a big bag of freebies by the developers and founders to promote the coin, whether he just got in early from a pre-launch, whatever it may be, and it was different for each altcoin, he got in super early, and in each and every example, he bounced that same day. Usually right at the pump. Super early. This guy was always just letting everything go. Everything go. That's a pump and dump, by the way. K was telling his followers, millions of followers, hey, I'm investing in this coin long term. I believe in it. Can you invest in it too? I think you'll come out ahead. The guy put out an apology where he claimed this. Let me pull that up on the screen here. I want you all to know I had no ill intent promoting any crypto altcoins. I honestly naively thought we all had a chance to win, which isn't the case. Not everyone had the chance to win, right? I didn't vet any of this with my team at FaZe, and now I know I should have. While I'm very passionate about the crypto space, it's extremely complicated and I still have a lot to learn, and I caution everyone to look closely before investing. It was so irresponsible of me to speak publicly about any coins without knowing more, and knowing now they can do more harm than good. I'm really struggling with the fact that I let you all down, and more importantly, anyone whose trust I've lost. My fans mean the world to me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without you. Again, I want to reiterate. While other FaZe Clan members who got into these coins may have sold early, some of them held on to a fairly big bag of coins, showing that they were still invested. Maybe they wanted to take out a little money, make some money back, but they weren't just completely bailing on the project. Some of them sold everything a few days later. Maybe they saw it was failing and they didn't want to be part of it anymore. I still think that's a terrible thing to do if you are promoting this stuff to people, to just bail on it after you went on about how much you believed in it. But again, it's hard to ascribe malicious intent to those people. But FaZe K was telling his fans and his believers and his subscribers to invest in all of these altcoins while he was immediately dumping them all for quick gains. Now, I have nothing. I have no. This isn't my world. I have no personal issue with any. For people like, oh, you might just be because I've seen this. Oh, these YouTubers who are talking about my favorite FaZe Clan member, or these journalists, they just want to see them fail. They hate. I'm not in this world. I have nothing to. This is the first time I've ever wrote about the FaZe Clan, any FaZe Clan members. I do not want to see anyone taking advantage of well-intentioned, normal, everyday people for their own gain. It's horrible, horrible. And that's why I covered this. That's why I'm talking about this. That's why I want more people to know about this stuff. I do not want to see anyone else get scammed. And the people who scammed their followers, I hope there is some consequence to this. I do hope. And we see some with the FaZe Clan. But, there's no reason why the SEC can't get involved. This is clear pump and dump. The FTC could get involved because these influencers, in many cases, did not disclose the level that they were involved. Some of them don't disclose at all. They just say they believe in a project. No disclosure that it's an ad, that they're getting paid. No disclosure they're involved in the project at all. But here's where it gets more incredible from Save the Kids coin. Save the Kids token, I should say. CoffeeZilla really traced this all back. He spoke to the developer. He spoke to other people involved in the moderation of the Telegram channel, the subreddit for Save the Kids. And what he found was that at almost every level, Faze K was involved. Now, we haven't seen the smoking gun of Faze K being the one behind this token, but to me, it is crazy that when the developer said, Lucas, the developer who claims he's an innocent contracted developer, again, so far it looks like that's the case, but he showed CoffeeZilla a photograph that he received when the anonymous founder of Save the Kids token used to try to convince Lucas this was a legit project. Now, Lucas, the developer, claims he was contacted anonymously by someone going by the name Manny. And he was basically hired to do this project. And he did it. But early on, when he was trying to get some sort of, again, allegedly, according to him, when he was trying to get some sort of, add some legitimacy to this project, he asked for proof that there's something more to this project, because if someone anonymously asks you to do something, or, some trust issues there. And what he sent back was a photo of Faze K holding up a sign that says Lucas and Manny, the developer and this anonymous founder. Which means, at the very least, Faze K was involved at the development stage of this token. To me, that is the bombshell. We don't need to ascribe, it would be a crazy thing to find out if he was the anonymous guy. That's pure, anyone who says that it's pure speculation, I haven't seen any proof. But, we know he was involved before there was even a development stage, when they were still hiring the developer for the development stage, excuse me. It shows that he got that big bag of token to just drop. Probably, it looks like he didn't have to really, maybe he paid for some of the development. I don't know. But as for the direct correlation of him just being a guy buying the token because it was a project he believed in, that did not happen. That did not happen. It's, and that is why Faze K, it appears to me, has been booted from FaZe Clan. CoffeeZilla, I've seen some people come out and, say he's done some other things that they didn't agree, but I can't attest to his other work. I did watch his recent videos on cryptocurrency scams. And especially this video that dropped today. I did my own work to connect the dots and try to confirm what he discovered. Everything I've seen so far, absolutely solid. Major props to CoffeeZilla for going down the Faze K connection. Seriously. Because I was starting to do that. I came out with a piece today where I go in a different direction. I looked into a different altcoin who was connected to a different Faze K member, one of the co-founders. That's where I went for my follow-up piece. But there was something there with Faze K that I was going to look into later. CoffeeZilla did the work so far, and props. I mean, it's just incredible. It's just incredible. I mean, I highly doubt any money was actually given to any children's charity if this was meant to be a pump and dump scam from the get-go. It's horrible that this happened. Because the money they made comes from people who invested. You need to understand that. When you sell off in the crypto world, when you sell off and you come out ahead, you've made gains, your gains are coming from people who invested and sold at a loss. People who bought in when it hit its peak and then didn't get out in time or didn't get out at all. I mean, that money you made didn't just come out of thin air. Let's get to another one. I think there's a lot more here to look into at Save the Kids, honestly. And with some of these other coins that are promoted by the FaZe guys. Let's go. I want to talk about Bank Social. That's also a FaZe Clan thing. That was what my follow-up piece today was about. Let's talk about Bank Social. Let me actually, because I'm doing this is a solo episode if you haven't noticed. Usually I have a guest. And when I have a guest, when they're talking, it's easier for me to, while I'm listening to them, tweet out a quick promotion of the stream so people could jump in. Can't do that when I am doing the whole both sides of the conversation. Rolando Ramirez in the chat. Crypto is a scam? ? See, I want to address this. I know it's totally easy for someone to be like, you know, if you are buying something called Tits Coin or Milf token, which is another crazy story we'll get to. Wow, I've already went an hour. This whole episode might be just this. I mean, we're going to go long here, obviously. You might be thinking, why would you buy this? This sounds ridiculous. There's Ass Coin and all these ridiculously named cryptos. Why would you buy into something called Save the Kids? What kind of investment do you think you're going to make there? What do you... I get that reaction. I get it. But I think there's just so much we're dealing with here that you have to keep in mind. Number one, you have to understand we are dealing with people who probably have never been scammed online before. The fan base, a lot of these influencers are young. We're talking young people. With, preteens, teens, even people in their 20s, 30s. I mean, it's possible this is their first internet scam. If you were not online in like the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s, when like scams were rife, and this was before, people really got a handle on some of these scams. I know a lot of scams still out there, obviously, tons, probably even more, but there wasn't this whole basis before that. But if this is your first experience with that, what are you supposed to say? How can you attack these victims? I think that's wrong. The wrong thing. I get so easy to dunk on them. I get it. You bought a Milf token. Come on, Tits Coin, and you're shocked you lost money. But here's the thing too. Think right now, go to Google. Type in Dogecoin millionaire. Type in Shiba Inu millionaire. an altcoin even, less established than Dogecoin. Even type in Bitcoin millionaires, people who've made money off Bitcoin. You see, if you're someone who's unfamiliar, you've seen all these stories. And I think it is highly irresponsible to be writing about these people who have become millionaires off of cryptocurrency without really getting specific about what's going on and how early they got in and how you cannot replicate it at this point to that level. I think the stories are newsworthy in themselves, sure. But if you are not giving your readers the entire story about how early some of these people got in and how impossible it is to replicate now, I think you're doing a disservice to your readership. People see these stories. Literally, we're talking about like Powerball winners. That's who these people are. Yes, people have become extremely wealthy off of cryptocurrency. They won the lotto. That's what happened. They won the lotto. That's what this is. This is all a gamble, really. It's like going to the casino and hitting the jackpot. How many people have lost everything before you pulled that lever and hit it big? Way more people lose than people who win. But unfortunately, people read about the winners because that's what makes the headlines. And if you hear something stupid enough to be called Dogecoin making people millionaires, and you're desperate, there's been a pandemic, you lost your job, you got a little bit of money from the stimulus that came out maybe. Who knows why you've got some extra money lying around. And you feel desperate and you need just a quick way to get out of this slump you're in. You're feeling like shit. You're depressed. That's usually what scam artists prey on, people who are feeling depressed and make quick-witted decisions without thinking things through because they're in a slump. They're in this hole. You go, Dogecoin investors did it. Why can't I? So you buy this shit. You buy Milf token. You buy Tits coin. You buy Save the Kids. I do feel sorry for these people. I think they've been taken advantage of. I don't think this is who you dunk on. Miss Heathen says, sound like capitalism, Matt. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. I do think this is a lot different than people buying a product or service. These investments do nothing for you. They do nothing for you. Absolutely nothing for you. Once they tank and you lose money, once you buy in, really, your money is gone. That's it. You get nothing in return. At least if these influencers were hawking a clothing line or some sort of application service or something, at least you got something you might enjoy or be able to use out of it. And if not, you probably do have something with some sort of resale value, something physical. You get nothing when you invest in one of these altcoins and it tanks. There's no way for you to recoup. There's nothing. There's nothing for you to use to sort of try to get your money's worth. The people who hawk the survivalist gear, like the survivalist food packs, at least you can eat those. At least if you want to recoup your investment, if you're like, oh my God, why did I just spend all this money on survivalist food packages? At least if you want to recoup your investment, you can throw those in for lunch and dinner and save some money there every now and then. You get nothing with these altcoins. Nothing. Let me read some comments here. Wigwith says it's buying the idea of a service. Right, but you can't do anything with that idea. I mean, you can't do anything with that idea. Again, at least the service. Maybe you had like a phone call with someone who wants to, like, maybe you bought into like an influencer who's selling like those phone coins, like life coaches, those phone calls to like life coaches or whatever. Maybe you could extract something out of that. I mean, I still think there are scams there, obviously. But maybe there is someone who gives you some nugget of advice that you could extract something out of. There's a service there. You got a hour, a half hour, whatever it is of that person's time at the very least. I'm not saying those aren't scams and those people shouldn't know, but I'm saying there's something there at the very least. Here you get nothing. Soyborn says, sounds even worse than microtransaction BS in a video game. Here's the thing too, if you're buying through like the Apple Store or something, there is some like legitimate company or service to appeal to. If you got bamboozled into buying like a microtransaction or an in-app thing. Your credit card company too could charge back. But with these altcoins, here's the thing. Because you jump through hoops, your original transaction with Coinbase is completely legit. That's the thing. You will lose that. You can't even charge back because you bought Bitcoin or whatever from Coinbase. And Coinbase gave you those coins. And Coinbase is a legit cryptocurrency exchange. If you did a chargeback with them, you would lose because they gave you the Bitcoin. The problem is you then went ahead and used the Bitcoin to make other transactions. And there's no way for you to charge back those. Because those are the transactions that led you to getting the scam coin. The shit coin, the meme coin, whatever. So you're really left hanging here. That's it. The bank social thing with the other FaZe, with FaZe banks, is a lot longer than I can go here, I think. We'll have to do another episode on this. We are going to have to do another episode on this. But I will, to close out this episode, I will talk about one more. We're not done. There's a lot more examples. Let's talk about Adin Ross. Because this one is oof. This one is a real this one is amazing. Let me pull up what I need to do to talk about this one. All right. So Adin Ross is a big Twitch streamer. It's going viral, and has like, I think it's 4 million followers on Twitch. Man, 4 million followers on Twitch. Jesus. So dude has a lot of Twitch followers. He has, I believe, usually like 100,000 concurrent viewers. 100,000 concurrent viewers. To give you an example, obviously my stream is a lot tinier, but I have close to 280, 300 across all the, I'm multicasting here on numerous channels like Twitch and YouTube. I got about 300 concurrent viewers right now. Dude's got 100,000 concurrent viewers on a regular basis when he streams. So, he is big on Twitch. He has multi-million-dollar deals with gambling platforms, which is quite frankly a whole nother story. I could really break this out to so many different episodes. Whole different story. But he has a lot of money. So there's really no reason for him to do this if he's not like this is his one shot to like do this successful. Back in May, he went live to promote something called Milf token. Let me pull up the video of him going live here. This is a long video. 1 second. This is from his Twitch stream that someone grabbed and put on YouTube. Let me put the volume up. I think this is at the right point. Here he is. This was he did. I will say probably not enough promotion. I don't think actually based on the FTC guidelines, this is definitely he would not be in the clear here. He did say at one point in what was an hour long stream that he got paid to promote this coin. But he also went on for, as you can see with this video, it's about 20 minutes long. He did go on for 20 minutes to walk his followers through the process to buy, if you're watching on the stream, this stupid looking, look how dumb this is, Milf token. So, I mean, he said he was going to invest himself. He said, here, you listen for yourself. Here is that stream where he walked his fans through buying Milf token.
But what I could say is these things are fucking hot. Elon's mom, so hot. What a hot MILF. So hot. Elon, never mind. I don't want to talk shit to Elon Musk. He literally end my life like that. But anyways, these things are really cool. You could basically buy these and these go up in value. It's really sick. Probably
should have dropped one of those patented "this is not financial advices" there, because it seems like he was making quite the claim there.
Saying what the fuck. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, this is the nice little catalog. You got a honey MILF. What the fuck? Nah, but your boy Aiden is gonna be investing in this shit. But yeah. Yeah, but again, chat, I'm not a financial advisor, so what does the blue crown do? If you guys got the blue crown next to name, you guys got Amazon Prime. Click subscribe right now. You can sub for free. And yeah, milftoken.net. Exclamation point MILF in the chat. And yeah. Okay, bet. That's shout out number 1. Yeah. All right, chat. So we're gonna react.
I mean,
it'll pop up.
Dude was just on for long time talking about this throughout his stream. And so this is Adin Ross, if you're looking at the screen right now, promoting this Milf token. And then a few weeks after he promotes it, and Milf token, by the way, shared this stuff, said, really promoted the fact that they had Adin Ross as an ambassador here. A few weeks later, he goes live on his Twitch channel. And what does he do? He starts talking like he usually does, just chatting it up. He's getting a haircut. And then all of a sudden, he drops this.
Chat, by the way, that MILF token shit I did a while back, I already told you guys, don't buy that shit. I got paid a bag to do that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. I hope none of you guys actually bought it.
Let's replay that. Let's go back and replay that, because I honestly can't get over this. I want to get exactly when this was. 3 weeks later, I wrote in my piece. 3 weeks later. 3 weeks after that clip I showed you where he's promoting this token throughout his hour-long stream, spending 20 minutes to walk his fans through how to buy it. 3 weeks later, he's saying this.
Chat, by the way, that MILF token shit I did a while back, I already told you guys, don't buy that shit. I got paid a bag to do that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. I hope none of you guys actually bought it.
He's laughing. Like, he's laughing at his own fans, the people who who subscribe to his Twitch channel, who pay him actual dollars through like Twitch bits and all the other, ways you can make money as a Twitch streamer. And he's just laughing after openly admitting that he told them to invest in something worthless. And I looked back, and back when this piece published, I published this piece, Mashable published my piece last Friday. Back when we published it, if you invested $100 in Milf token, when Ross was talking about it during his stream. So if you actually went through the process with Adin Ross while he was telling you how to buy a Milf token, if you put $100 into Milf token, you walk away today. The day of this piece published last Friday, you would walk away with $10. 90% of your investment gone. If you put in $1,000, you would have had $100 left. Complete, just no regard for his own fans. It's stunning to see him just have no issue with sharing that. I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted. I don't know how you could do that to someone, let alone the people who are putting you where you are today. Like, I couldn't imagine scamming someone I hate. I would feel so wrong and dirty. Like someone I have like a personal issue with. Like not like someone in my personal life. And I'm just throwing out a hypothetical. I actually don't have any arch nemesis that I know of. But I can't imagine doing that. Now imagine doing this to someone who not only you're friends with or like, but someone who's done everything to support you, and they barely even really know you in real life, but they probably themselves feel like they know you because they watch so much of you. I can't imagine being this type of person. And props to FaZe Clan for having there be a consequence against their members by suspending and dropping them. At least there is some legit organizational process in that group, which is really a business. I should add that FaZe Clan raised $40 million last year, because they're seen as like a legit tech company. But with Adin Ross, he's just like a streamer. I don't think there is any hierarchy above him. I don't think he's part of any organization or company. I mean, Twitch, if you ask me, Twitch should get involved. Twitch should do something here. They should not enable their biggest streamers to do this and not try to clamp down on it. I mean, this is just as egregious as like extremism and other stuff that's not allowed on social platforms. This is really low, if you ask me. I don't think we've seen the end of this. Far from it. I think it's just going to get worse because it's still just the Wild West. The SEC even came out and said, the chairman of the SEC recently came out and said, listen, we are trying to do what we can about some of these more egregious crypto schemes, but we need Congress to do something because we're just not updated enough. The laws are not built yet for this brand new industry that is cryptocurrency. The FTC certainly could do something, though. I mean, if not about the crypto stuff, period, the FTC could hit these people for not doing their disclosures correctly or at all. The FTC actually does have influencer guidelines for paid promotions on social media. And there have been people who have been fined by the FTC and the SEC for not disclosing these things. And I mean, you have proof right here. I really, you know, I was watching this go down. I was really interested in, you guys all know I have strong opinions on cryptocurrency. But I don't let those opinions influence my reporting. But those opinions help me know where to look, where to go down. I know how to find what's trending, what's going on, what's taking off here. And if I am not on top of something, I know of people in those specific niche worlds who would be, so I reach out to them. You know, like I said, David Gerard, who's a great crypto critic, who's in my piece, Mary Springer, Ponzi scheme expert who spoke to me about this stuff. And then I want to shout out who I spoke to for this piece in the YouTuber community, Def Noodles, and Def Noodles, especially with Def Noodles with the Milf token thing, and CoffeeZilla with the some of the FaZe Clan stuff, and some ordinary gamer. I didn't end up using any of his work, but I did come across it, and it was very helpful in getting these stories out there. There were probably some others that I'm not even aware of, or people I haven't even mentioned. This stuff is, just baffling. It's crazy how far this is going, and how much further it can go. The Faze K thing, man, it's again not surprising because that was the direction I was sort of going to head in, but damn, I mean. All right, folks, we are going to go into the second half of the show. For those of you who are new to this program, the second half is still a whole nother show for you. But this first half gets clipped as a podcast and uploaded. This second half, unless you're watching live like you are right now, this second half is just for patrons. This whole show is not possible without my patrons. So if you can afford to support this show, go to patreon.com/MattBinder. All I ask is $5 a month. You can give more, you can give less, but $5 is the suggested amount. What do you get out of $5? Am I shilling a coin to you? Absolutely not. I'm letting you know exactly what you get by donating money, by subscribing to the Patreon. It's practically a donation. You help me do this show. With my patrons, thanks to my patrons, I've been able to buy equipment, camera equipment, lighting equipment, take extra time because I do a lot. I have my full-time job as a reporter. I do freelance stuff. Thanks to patrons, I can cut back on other stuff and spend more time on researching stories for this show. So it helps the product here. The content here as well, obviously. That's what the product is, the content. I feel like I'm talking about a wrestling fan, a pro wrestling fan. They always talk about pro wrestling as the product. You can, it also helps the show expand. Like I told you guys previously, one of my goals is to be able to do more shows. And I also have an idea to get a second host for one of those additional shows, so you guys would have something cool of a more regular back and forth with two regular hosts on a new show that would be on this channel. Still will cover one of this stuff. Also, people have reached out to me and said how I should, because they heard that some of you know I was the thinking about starting a secondary, a much shorter like podcast for like tech news type stuff. And a few people suggested I do a crypto one, looking at it from a specific regular crypto show that looks at it from a critical lens, because there's some great crypto critics out there, but I think they need to get more across in different mediums. A lot of them are great reporters, written reporting. We need more of them on YouTube and via podcasts. So it's a good idea. I'm looking into it. So that's what you help do by becoming a patron. And I want to shout out people who just became a patron really quick over the past, since we last did a show, honestly, which was last Thursday. And the newest patrons are, when was the last show? Can't remember if I named some of these people. Let me thank Dinesh J, Patrick M, and Jack F. Thank you for becoming a patron at patreon.com/MattBinder. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/MattBinder, if you don't want to become a patron, you could just drop a super chat right now. That gives me a one-off donation in the YouTube chat. By doing that, I also guaranteed to read your chat room message, because there's a lot of them today. So it's hard for me. There's usually a lot of them. So it's hard for me to get to. If you drop a super chat, you are guaranteed for me to read your super chat message. That's youtube.com/MattBinder, twitch.tv/MattBinder. Follow me on Twitter at MattBinder. Most social media platforms, I am at MattBinder. What else? Doomedcast.com for the podcast version of this show. Go to ratethispodcast.com/doomed to have an easy way to go to all the different places where you can leave a podcast review. Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can do that, that'd be great. Especially Apple Podcasts. I do see a direct correlation between when we get lots of reviews, both the star reviews and the written reviews, and getting a bump in podcast downloads. Whether that actually boosts me up the rankings on Apple podcasts, that's people debate that. Okay, it doesn't matter. I see a correlation between those reviews come in and downloads. It's there. Something is there. So that'd be great if you leave a review. What else? Other than that, going to the second half of the show, we will talk more about everything that we just talked about. Maybe some other stories. What else? I will read your questions, your comments. I will take calls on Skype. If you don't have Skype, download the Skype app. Sign up for Skype. Absolutely free. Set up a username. When you're all set up, type in Doomed Live. Doomed Live in search. You'll see the username come up. Call in. I will take your calls. Take a few calls. Otherwise, see you all next time. And there's will be a lot to talk about next time as well. See you all next time on Doomed. Give me a few minutes if you're sticking around for the live stream. There's a lot more to come. We're back. Hello, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. I just needed to take a second. Honestly, what I should really do is I should open up this door a little bit. Because I am in... you probably hear the... I'm sorry if you hear the AC outside. But it is scorching hot in my little closet studio. It is... it is so hot in here. I am melting. I am melting away. And quite frankly, I need to open the door a little bit to get some air in for a second. Let me know if you do hear some buzzing in the background, because I don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll keep it open just to get some fresh air in for a few minutes, and then I'll close it so you don't hear it throughout. But I just needed to... I needed a second here. So let's go to some super chats. I didn't log into the Skype. I just told everyone to download Skype and I didn't log into it. Give me a second. I'm going to log into Skype now. One second. I have to log out of my own personal Skype number. I have to then log into the doomed Skype number. The reason I have two Skype numbers, not because I'm hiding anything from you. The reason I have two Skype numbers is I use my main personal Skype number to call the guest on the show when I usually have guests. And what I don't want when I'm talking to a guest is for someone who's a listener to try to call in on that number and interrupt the phone call. So that is the complete reason why I have a second Skype number. Strictly for you to all call in, so there's no issue with any phone call interruption with a guest. We got someone who wants to call in. Hey, call in. Because I was offline, so they messaged me. Let's, all right, while I wait for them to call in, if they'd like to call in, let me go to the chat. Super chats. Melissa with a super chat. Oh, her El Salvador thing was a super chat. We will get to the Bitcoin becoming a actual official currency in El Salvador. It honestly is its own episode. We will do that. I want to talk to someone for that one because it is. We'll get into that. Thank you for the super chat, Melissa. Oh, let me take the caller. Hey, you are on the air. Who's this? Uh-oh. I don't hear you. Hello? You are on the air. Who's this? You might have to call back in. You have to fix your settings. Let me check my settings. Let me make sure it wasn't on my end. Nope. It's not on my end. Hello? Oh, I just heard you. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Who's this?
Dave from Jamaica. Long time, man.
Oh, Dave from Jamaica. Let me put you up louder. Can you get a little bit closer to your mic too, actually? Because you're a little bit low.
Yeah. How about now?
You're volume-wise great, but now you're like obviously so close that it's coming in a little bit distorted. So you could back up just a little bit.
I'm adjusting the mic. How about now?
Much better. How you doing, Dave?
Not bad. Long time no see.
For people who don't know, Dave from Jamaica, longtime listener of the Majority Report, where I am also known from. For people who are watching this for the first time, I've noticed there's a number of people just watching it for this specific topic, the cryptocurrency one. And I've spoken with Dave on a number of issues, and Dave is really great on. You'd think, a caller is calling in to ask questions. No, but Dave is also very well versed in a lot of topics, and we have great conversations. So what would we talk about today, Dave?
Well, let's stick to the crypto stuff.
Beautiful.
So I guess this is where I will ask the questions, I guess. For me, I always viewed crypto as kind of scammy because I never saw what was the actual value somebody's getting. It seemed very pyramidish. But this is not to judge people who fall victim to crypto because it's a lot of desperation out there, right? As you said, it's like a lottery ticket type thing going on. But I guess for me, what I'm trying to figure out is why is it legal? Since, it's not really a currency anybody's really going to accept, with the exception of El Salvador, because they got some weird libertarian running down there. But
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's not currency. Like that's the thing. Like
it's a commodity, right?
yeah, like it's that's exactly right. Like it's just right now it's like a really volatile investment. Like that's all it is. Anyone like it's just a name, cryptocurrency. Anyone who's advocating for it to be an actual currency, it just doesn't make any sense. Like how do you have a currency? Let's go Bitcoin, because if there's any one of them, as we can see from El Salvador, if any one of these coins are going to make it, it's going to be Bitcoin. Obviously, the entire industry is pretty much. And for people who know what I'm talking about with Tether, they'll get this pun. But the entire industry is really tethered to Bitcoin. What you will usually see is if Bitcoin goes up, the entire market, every altcoin, whatever you see out there, the entire market, every crypto goes up. Bitcoin go down, takes the
Everything
whole
goes down.
Everything goes down. Everything is tied to Bitcoin, whether it's direct or indirect, because that's just what the crypto is really. It's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, if it becomes a currency, 21 million Bitcoin is the max there will ever be, according to how many can be mined. Now, of course, one day in the future, if the people who mine these coins get together and can all agree on changing the code to allow more coins, they could certainly allow that. And I'm sure they'll get pushback. I mean, but it's something that is, let's just go by the fact that as of right now, and from what it looks like, at least long term, there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. How does that work? There's hundreds.
Because I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
All the countries in the world would have to agree that they're going to use this currency, or at least one major one, right? And even then, as you said, there's a cap to it. You can easily end up with one or two dudes having all the Bitcoin. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and it's so energy intensive too. I just don't like. All right, when they had the Wall Street bet stuff with the GameStop, I could see some value in GameStop because, as you said, it's a thing. It's in the world. It exists as a service, right? What's the value in Bitcoin?
It's honestly, I mean, listen, I always make sure to stress that I do think there is value in the technology that this all runs on, which is blockchain. There could be, and I've read about various different usages. A lot of times it comes down to like the same thing you would use a ledger for, or a database for. But I do see value in blockchain, being able to track these transactions. I saw a really good use case where an artist can sell their work on the blockchain. And because it's all tracked on the blockchain, they can actually get a percentage, like a royalty, every time someone else sells their art. So they sell art to somebody. That person who bought that art decides to sell it down the line. The blockchain, it's on the blockchain. It tracks it. A royalty goes to that artist. That sounds great. I think that's an awesome way to use that technology. Helps out people who create things of value, artists, usually people who get paid very little for what I think really valuable work. But
that's like a separate thing. That's blockchain technology. Yeah.
And that's not what everyone talks about the blockchain for. Like, that's not where all this money is being put. All this money is being put on these making schemes and endeavors where it's just pour money in, sell off when it's of value, or hold because you think it's going to become more valuable. And then, there's going to be winners. There's going to be a hell of a lot more losers. Like, that's just like, it's speculation. It's pure speculation. It's a commodity. That's not currency. You can't expect people to wake up one morning, decide they need to go buy some milk, head down to the local bodega, look at their Bitcoin and see that, oh shit, it tanked this morning. I don't have enough to buy milk today, even though 2 hours ago I did.
Right. Well, I definitely see the promise in the blockchain, but then we still run up on the problem of how energy intensive the technology is. Like your computer, I could see, yes, you track the art sold maybe 5 times. Well, if the art gets sold a lot of times down the road, it's going to be a very energy intensive thing to get that under control. No, if we have different energy systems in the future, then yeah, I'm all for the blockchain. But I don't know. It as in we're speaking with Bitcoin, so I acknowledge blockchain definitely has potential.
Right.
But the Bitcoin stuff is it's a pump and dump scam. It's a pyramid scheme. Like most of the people I know who are into Bitcoin are in it because they know if they get in early and sell off quick, they'll eat somebody else's lunch. That's how the money is made. So
yeah, I mean,
it's shocking that it's legal.
I get people on the left who get angry at me. I actually who are like, oh, I can't believe you're shitting on cryptocurrency. Don't you see the value in this decentralized form of currency? They always point out how WikiLeaks, they had all their bank accounts and their different financial platforms banned. They had no way to raise funds, and they were able to raise money via Bitcoin. I mean, sure, I do see value in some uses of it, but again, we're talking about very specific niche uses. I mean, the vast majority of it is not for that. And honestly, a lot of this stuff, I don't see why you can't create this for current currency. Like, there's no reason why you can't create this like anonymous wallet or whatever for that deals in real life currency. Because when you're using US dollars online, you're still just dealing with numbers. It's not like actual physical dollars are being traded. Like, it's not like when you buy something at a clothing store, your bank drops like the $50 you spent at H&M online in like the mailbox and sends it to them. It's just digital. It's all digital numbers. Like, I don't see why this various different technologies to anonymously send money or work around the big financial platforms like PayPal or whatever. I don't see why that can't be created for actual real world dollars.
No, as I said, we're not against the blockchain. Blockchain is an interesting technology. If they can get the energy costs down, I'm all for it. But the crypto stuff, it's just the currency, the Bitcoin, it's obviously a scam, or it takes advantage of people who are desperate.
Yeah,
because hasn't China made it illegal, if memory serves?
China has made here's the thing, it already was. What happened was, and this is why Bitcoin tanked, they had re-upped those laws. Like I guess they had to evaluate them, and they decided to keep them or whatever. Basically they have like anti-mining laws, cryptocurrency exchange laws. They're basically completely they shut down, actively work against any company based on cryptocurrency. I mean, and that's what was a big problem for Bitcoin when it went from. That's a lot of people ascribe the fall from Elon Musk talking up Bitcoin and then saying, I'm not going to accept it to buy Teslas anymore after saying he would. I mean, that did cause a little bit of a hit, but the China thing was the big thing. And what I take out of that is, listen, that just shows you who the big holders in Bitcoin are. Like, if Bitcoin was actually just a bunch of Joe Schmoes, like just some regular everyday citizens who have, a few Bitcoin here and there, or a percentage of a Bitcoin here and there, they wouldn't have sold off on the China news. That means nothing to them. The China news meant something to the big time investors who were in this, and the fact that so many of them sold off shows just how many of them are holding the majority of these cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in this example. And that just shows you, like, the big thing for crypto advocates is we don't like fiat currency because we want government out of our financial system, out of our money. They're ruining, look at what they do, the Fed. But you'd prefer your alternative currency, the future, the thing you want to replace fiat currency with a currency that basically lives and dies on what a few billionaires and tech capital investment firms decide. Like, that's what the market is right now.
Well, I completely agree, because a lot of these folks like Elon Musk, they're aspiring little lords and dukes, basically. They want the government out. Not saying the government, there is not to say there isn't critique of the Fed, but they want to be the government. That's the trick. They don't believe in all of this decentralized stuff as they claim. They just want to be the top dog. It's kind of obvious they're playing it.
Right. I think, I don't know where this all goes. I think there are interesting arguments from critics who think this is all going to pass at some point. I also think it's pretty clear that this has lasted a lot longer than most trends do that would come and go. So maybe crypto is here to stay. I'm not someone who would claim to speculate and decide what.
I'll put it like this: if they, unless they figure out a way how to do all these calculations without burning so much power, then maybe the rich folk might be less squeamish about it, or we figure out some energy solution in their future. But I think as of current, I don't see how the cryptocurrencies remain. Or it will be a stable thing because as you said, it stops at 21 million. There's going to be some toes step there.
Well, here's the interesting thing I want to add there before we I let you go for the next caller or to read some comments. 21 million Bitcoin. Now, if you look at who holds all these Bitcoin, we know that the founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi, the anonymous founder of Bitcoin, holds 1 million of them. So now here's the interesting one. When Coinbase, the major cryptocurrency exchange, filed their IPO and had to have a risk security report written up so investors could know the risks of the company, like how the company makes their money, how they, what could be a threat to their business model. In that report, one of the threats that would be detrimental to the company that's now being traded on the stock market is that if Satoshi sold off his 1 million Bitcoins, because that would completely change up the Bitcoin market to have 1 million coins flood in at once. I mean, think about what a million Bitcoin is worth. Like right now, I'm not gonna look exactly, but last I checked, it was worth 32,000. 32,000 times 1 million. I mean, if he wanted to sell, he would make right now $32 billion if he was to sell right now. And you guarantee that would have a major effect on Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin advocates say, listen, Satoshi has held on to this Bitcoin now for what is it? Geez, 10, 11, 12 years. He's never going to sell, or some of them people even think he's dead. So though he never can, he never can sell. But here's the thing: just having those out of the market is bad too. If your idea is that this should be a currency, what makes an economy strong? What helps an economy? When the currency is flowing, right? We love when money is in the hands of people who spend, right? That's what's good when people like you and me have money, right? Because we go out and we spend the money, we keep the money flowing in the economy. That makes for a healthy economy, right? If you got one person holding 1 million out of the 21 million Bitcoin, that's bad. Because what happens when more of these coins accumulate in the hands of a few?
Right. What is what the wealthy do. They hoard. So as a blockchain potential currency. Somebody's going to have to explain a little bit more before I jump on that. Well, I guess it's time for me to go, Matt. But one thing I was going to say, I think you were talking with was it Jamie about debates?
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah. And I made the foolish decision to go on Twitter. But I'm not like a prolific Twitter person. So it's Dave from Jamaica Twitter. But I'm not a big tweeter, I'm more of a social thing.
Well, welcome to Twitter.
The
Dave
hellscape.
from Jamaica. Can I interest you in a project I really believe in? All you have to do is log into Twitter, and you'll see my tweets where I am.
I'm already following you.
Oh, perfect! So you might have seen my tweets where I really believe in this new project called Tweetcoin. I think it's really going places. I swear I'm all in. I will be holding to the bitter end.
I'll put all my life savings in there for sure. I'm sure it's good input. But I was going to say about the debate stuff before I go. Is I think it's good when the left destroys their opponent. But like if it comes out a wash, who knows, right? But like if you get a Sam Cedar, Crowder type situation, it's a good thing. Or
right, I think
there's no reason libertarians are good because in the sense that they're kind of good faith. In other words, they say their horrible ideas out loud, and that's when people hear it out loud, they kind of get embarrassed by it.
Right. Yeah, listen, I know.
Gotta go now. Right?
Okay, take care, Dave. Yeah. So what Dave's talking about is there was a bit of a little bit of there's a debate about online debates. Oh, let me take this caller first. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
G'day, this is John from Australia.
Oh,
am I coming through?
You're coming through fine. John, you said?
Yeah, John.
Hey, John from Australia. Thanks for calling in. Jeez, what time is it over there?
Only 1 p.m., so we're doing all right.
Right. I was thinking
You're up late, man. You're up late.
I'm the one up late. Right. Well, I thought for a second, maybe if you were if I was thinking UK time, and then there'd be like 4 a.m. there. But no, go ahead. What would you like to talk about?
Yeah, so I heard you and Dave having a chat about crypto. Generally, the sentiment seems to be you're not really keen on that, but blockchain, you see some potential. You were talking about how artists can sort of resell their work using the blockchain. I'm assuming you're talking about NFTs there?
No, not. I mean, I know NFTs are a thing. That it sounds like there is that aspect in NFTs. But what I saw, I need to find where I saw this, because there was a project where I don't think it was directly NFTs. I think this was something. This was a non-NFT piece of art. It might have even been like music or like something that was commissioned or something, where they basically were tracking the sale or could track on the blockchain. This was like an example that I just saw, and it made sense to me. I wasn't completely clear if it was a actual project in existence or in the works, or if it was just a hypothetical. But that's something that stuck out to me when I was looking into, because when people tell me that you should really look more into this, I do, and I do try to see some sort of benefits in various things that I am told that there is good about that I wasn't seeing. And this was one example I saw that I was like, okay, I should look more into this in the future because it sounds good to me.
Yeah, so I've not seen any example of what you're talking about that isn't an NFT.
So maybe it was, to be honest.
It could be. The concept's been around for a couple of years. But yeah, there's a general sort of sentiment that I see, especially on the left, that is like, well, blockchain is a technology, and technology is like ideologically agnostic and has no sort of like doesn't have an ideology, doesn't mess with any of that. So it can be used for good, it can be used for evil, or whatever, right? But like I've recently sort of having left the tech industry, I've sort of I've sort of come to the conclusion that blockchain is like irredeemable. It's VC bait. It's like not necessarily like a scam, but it's like it's a buzzword, right? In the tech sector.
Please, like, you're whispering sweet nothings to my ear right now. Listen, like I actually did have a journalist that I respect reach out to me, and they're not like a crypto person, but they run a outlet that basically publishes their articles on the blockchain in order to make sure everybody knows that they are like, you know, the source, the legit originator of the content. And they were like, you know, they were selling me on the idea and how it's good for journalists to make sure that it's all verifiable for their own projects. And like, it's, you know,
it's not.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So all of the promises that blockchain makes, and intentionally I've closed the YouTube window. I'm not looking at the YouTube chat because I don't want to get distracted by them, because I know there's some pro blockchain folks in there. But like all of the promises that blockchain makes are at their very core like either misleading or false. So say for example, I know that in Hong Kong there's talk of a newspaper going over to the blockchain and shifting to that to maintain their sort of independence, right? So that they can't be controlled by CCCP, right? So like if the benefit is like that it's verifiable, that we can provably say, okay, well, we know that this outlet wrote this piece because they published it to the blockchain. Well, one, we're relying on the fact that their private keys haven't been leaked in any way, which is an issue with cryptography in general, right? Two, we're relying on the actual specific blockchain that they're publishing to. We're relying on the fact that that hasn't been compromised in any way. All the nodes that are verifying the content on that blockchain, that they are all positive and good actors in this scenario. So like in all of these cases where people say it's immutable, it's verifiable, it's et cetera, well, all of that assumes that every actor in the space is a good actor that plays by all the rules, and that just doesn't hold true in reality, right? Like the entire like financial sector, the tech sector, every sector is filled with bad actors breaking the rules, right? Like computer hacking, right? That the whole point of that is that we're using things in ways that we don't expect users to use, and we're using it for financial or illicit gain.
Right. Do you think though that it'd be possible, like, you know, what you're describing in terms of like the nefarious people who could be behind this, you know, would it be, you know, you could say that for anything, you know, would it be?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
would it be more legit? Like, if would the blockchain technology work if the people behind it, or the community or organization or whatever behind it, was trustworthy? Like, you know, take Wikipedia. Take Wikipedia for example. Like, wikis can easily be even Wikipedia itself could be changed to spread false information, whatever. But the organization behind it is legit. The people who volunteer are extremely well vetted, extremely legit. And so Wikipedia has gone from, I don't know if you can trust this, to this is a trustworthy source. If you see it on Wikipedia, you know, it's legit.
Yeah, that's right. And then what we've effectively done then is we've centralized something that is purporting to be getting its strength from being decentralized. We've now instilled the trust of this system into one entity, whereas the strength of this supposed blockchain thing is that it's trustless. We don't have to trust anyone. So effectively what we've done is taken all of the benefits that supposedly blockchain provides and gone, well, those are actually problems. Let's solve them by doing the opposite of what the blockchain says is great. So, I mean, like, Wikipedia is what it is today because it is centralized, right? It runs on servers that Wikipedia controls, right? And it's developed trust from the fact that it has moderation policies and the like, and there is this sort of authority within that system.
Right.
So
right.
whenever someone comes up with a solution, sorry, go on.
I guess I take it from that. I don't think any of this is decentralized. I know that's the major thing, but like, I don't think I think it's just not true. Like, obviously, maybe that doesn't make it cryptocurrency and blockchain, but I mean, that's what people still talk about. That's considered blockchain, but I don't think any of it is really decentralized because behind it all, you do have individuals who are in charge of the upkeep at the very least, and they're the ones who make the decisions. Like the idea that Bitcoin is decentralized when, I mean, essentially the miners, the people who are mining the Bitcoin really do end up calling the shots. I mean, yes,
in 2019, one of the larger Bitcoin exchanges floated the idea of rolling back the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, because they lost a bunch of money in a hack. In 2016 or 2017, Bitcoin core developers worked with a large portion of the Bitcoin mining pool at the time in order to eliminate a fork that occurred of Bitcoin. So they've done all this stuff in the past, just like you've said.
Right. And also, I mean, I know this is not direct correlation as crypto advocates love to say when I bring this up, but like, I know this is not like what they mean when they say decentralized, but if just a few people can just decide to say something on Twitter and that decides whether the coin goes up or the coin goes down, I mean, that's not decentralized either. Again, I know that's not what they mean when they say decentralization, but like, I can't go out there and be like, or Elon Musk can't go out there and go, I feel like the US dollar is worthless. And then we all stop using USD. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you have a few people who are just able to say something and that affects that whole industry just based on their whims.
Yeah, and that's what a commodity market is, right? Like if Tim Cook comes out and goes, you know what, phones suck, everyone, phones suck, right? Like iPhone sales are going to tank, and potentially like the mobile phone market might see that impact, and that's what you see with trade and commodities, right? Rather than a currency, which they like to pretend that it is. But yeah, my gripe is, and to give you a little bit more background, I've been coming at this from a not necessarily academic perspective, but I recently gave a talk about blockchain and crypto as a symptom of commodification and gamification in the video gaming industry, which is really fascinating because you were talking about FaZe Clan and Twitch influencers shilling their shitcoins. That is sort of another symptom of this, like, perpetual monetization of an audience, right?
Right.
Like, we're not getting enough revenue from sponsors. We're not getting enough revenue from Twitch ads. We're not getting enough revenue from subs. I've got to shill a shitcoin to make bank. It's that. It's like the gaming industry is shifting to using blockchain. I know Ubisoft has a massive sort of startup within their company that is doing blockchain stuff in combination with like all of the other companies out there doing like blockchain games. If you look into a game called oh god, I've totally blanked on it after giving that talk. I try to get it all out of my head. It's a game that
don't worry about it. I think I mean, you should. I mean, if I do end up doing that crypto show, I think you should come on as a guest. To be quite frank, because this is, I want to look into all of this because I think there's a lot of people who are putting a lot of their money, and obviously we see this with VCs, and I mean, to me, it's some of these people getting into this, I've seen what's his face from Reddit, Serena Williams' husband get into this.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
He's the founder of Reddit, and I've seen Kevin Rose from Dig get into this, and they're all Jack of Twitter is all in on.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys are part or come from like legitimate tech companies, like companies that actually do something and connect people. And I think there's obviously a lot of criticism on what they've built there too. But I mean, there's something that you guys have there. Why would you get in on this? Like, what is the, like, especially when you see all the scams and all the schemes. I mean,
it's the founder mentality, right? Like, it's that Silicon Valley founder like thing where it's like, well, you don't need to necessarily like actually build something that's technologically, that functions, that serves a purpose, and that performs good or whatever, right? Like, you don't need to do that. You just need to craft the image of a product that will generate seed funding or VC or whatever. Like, that's all that needs to happen. And I think Jack's 100% down that path, right? Like, the engineers that make Twitter the thing that it is, they are so universes apart from Jack and that Silicon Valley founder culture.
Right, but he could do that with anything though. Like, he could decide to start any project he wants, and VCs will run to him to throw money at him because of Twitter. And Square, he's got Square too, like a legit financial company that has helped people. I can tell you how many of the bands that I've seen use their technology to be able to make money on the road. Small punk bands being able to use.
Sure.
He could literally do anything, and he gets into this world. Like, listen, if he thinks
this already exists and it's massively unregulated.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if he gets into another industry that there's already existing regulation there, right? Whereas this is like, no, it's not a currency, so it's not subject to any currency regulation. No, it's not a financial product, so it's not subject to any of those regulations. It's this ephemeral new thing that we've created, right? And they will run it into the ground until and the, like, the governments of the world will not touch this thing for fear of like hampering investment and hampering innovation. They don't want to do that. So this thing will just completely tank. And it will destroy lives, and it will destroy money, and it will destroy goodwill and all this stuff, and then eventually be regulated. But by the time that happens, all of those tech bros and that founder culture and all that sort of stuff, they'll have moved on to something else, right? Like, there's not very many new gig economy car apps that are coming out now. Am I wrong there? I feel like for a while there was a glut of like Uber competitors, and now there's just none because regulation has come in and no one wants to get into that space anymore.
Right. That's a really great point. I mean, it's true. And the funny thing is, when competitors do come into the space, that's usually trying to fix everything shitty about Uber. I think it's New York, where I am in New York City. I think there's a new worker-owned taxi.
I saw this. Yeah.
Taxi cab app. Yeah, and they basically took Uber and they decided, hey, we're the drivers. Let's build this for us, and we will run it, which is fantastic. And I mean, that's what should be done. Every worker that's able to get together and replicate the success of these money-making endeavors and create something that directly benefits the worker without the middleman who makes all the money. I mean, that's what we should be doing.
Exactly. And you're spot on there with the middleman stuff, right? Which is like, that's what ultimately they're doing with all this stuff in these industries that I've seen pop up, especially this NFT thing that I've been watching from the get-go. Like, the narrative that has been put out there is, oh, get rid of the middleman and the artist sells directly and they get secondary revenue and all this stuff. Well, all of the tech is just absolutely broken and busted. But like what they're doing is trying to insert themselves into a transaction that already didn't have like, that there's already, maybe there was one middleman, like a payment processor, right? Like they're trying to insert themselves into that equation and into that transaction as the new middleman. They're not, but they're using this messaging and this narrative of we're getting rid of the middleman, we're empowering you. Well, actually, they're just becoming the new middleman.
Right. Yeah, I need to look more into NFTs. I'm turned off by them simply because I cannot imagine. Like I buy digital products. I spend a good amount of money on digital services, digital products, things that help run this show, services that I use regularly, streaming services. Those are all digital products. But I could not imagine buying an item just to put it on my little shelf. That's all it is. Like it's and you don't own it either, really. Like I could see if like you were paying the artist to actually own the copyright for the product or for the item, but it's not even that. You just get to take a little piece of code, put it on your on some service that shows like a digital shelf of what you own, and that's it. Like it's just like a bravado thing, like to stroke your ego to show that, hey, I paid money to put this thing on my webpage on this service where you can show off things you bought that were NFTs. Like that's all it is.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and like not to go down a too deep a rabbit hole, but and I know you've talked to David Gerard. I think you said you were going to have him on or something like that. And David has done phenomenal, like looking into this space and like. So I don't want to get into it and tread on David's toes, but ultimately, like again, the tech is like busted, right? And we're being sold an idea of what NFTs are. And it's entered the sort of common parlance of people understand, oh, well, it's kind of like buying a license to a book, right, on Amazon. It's kind of like buying an art album on iTunes. It's sort of the same kind of thing, right? Except what you're doing is buying like an entry on the blockchain ledger that has a URL that points to a server that hosts your stuff that isn't on the blockchain. Or it's using some other ephemeral thing like IPFS or whatever. Like there's all this weird technology that's cropped up around it, and again, that's part of the issue. It's it's just baffling you with bullshit, right? And we're being sold this idea of what these things are that they provably cannot do, right? Like secondary revenue from secondary sales is one of the big ones that artists have been pushing for, right? Where if I make this incredible painting and I sell this one-off painting, right? Well, if it goes into the auction world like fine art and Sotheby's or Christie's or whatever and gets sold, well, I might get the first cut of that sale, but then subsequently, if that's resold, and if it increases in value, say, I don't get extra cuts along the way unless I have a very good agent. Whereas the idea with an NFT is that's baked in, right? 10% or whatever from each secondary sale, right? Each subsequent sale. But the issue there is it assumes that you're executing the sale of one of these items through the little piece of code built into it that says sell this item. And that's what takes the 10%. If I just agree with you, Matt Binder, and say, hey, I'm going to give you this NFT and you're going to give me 10 Ethereum, 10 Ether, right? You just transfer the 10 Ether to me. I'll just transfer the NFT to you. I get the full 10 Ether and you get the Ethereum and the artist makes nothing.
Right.
Like, we don't need to trade in the way that the code is written. We trade in the way that humans trade, right?
Right.
Or I could just create a new wallet and then put the NFT into that wallet and give you the key to that wallet. You could create a new wallet, put the 10 Ether into that wallet, give me the key to that wallet, right? Like, that's again one of these larger critiques that is ultimately like these systems are being designed by people who don't quite fully understand that people will use these systems, right? They assume that all of the actors are good, all of the actors follow the pre-planned script that they've written for all their actors in the little simulation that they've created to follow, rather than, well, I'm going to do what most benefits me when using this system. I'm going to do something that will generate me the most revenue or is most convenient or whatever it is.
Right. thank you for the call. I really appreciate you. I have to look more now into this all with blockchain for sure. I did see obviously some sort of positive, but I think you were also bringing it into perspective too. You know, I would love to talk to you more about this. Actually, you should reach out to me so we can figure out how we can set that up because this is very interesting.
Yeah, sure. I'll shoot you a DM on Twitter.
All right, sounds great. Thanks a lot for calling in.
No worries. Have a good one.
I see some people in the chat wanting to call in. Message me. You can call in on Skype. Let me see who's calling in now. Oh, here we go. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hello. Hello. You should be on the air. The issue is with your mic or your hello. You're on mute. You're on mute. Because I could see that the little mute logo is next to you. Sorry. I'm going to give him a second because I could see him there. So hold on, everybody. Give him 1 second. He's going to figure this out. I have faith.
Wait, hi.
Oh, there you go. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? I can hear you perfectly fine.
Oh, hi. I'm Brad. I guess I'm from Philadelphia, but I'm currently on a road trip right now.
Hey, Brad from Philadelphia, who's currently on a road trip right now. I just want to ask you, because I want to make sure. I see you're using the video. Would you mind if I brought your video feed in, or would you rather just be on audio?
You want to? Go ahead. That's
okay,
fine.
Cool. Let me. So I think people who are watching the live stream like to see the other talker if they're on video anyway. So what would you like to talk about today, Brad? Who's from Philly but is on tour?
Right. Well, okay. First and foremost, there's a person who taught me a lot of things called the blockchain socialist. And I had him on. Well, okay. I had a discussion with him once or twice before, and he's a really well-informed person who has worked kind of in the blockchain space for a while. And I think he does good justice in covering kind of like this topic from the left.
I have been told. People have told me to look into him. I haven't had a chance, but I know he exists. I would love to talk with him. I think it'd be an interesting conversation. I'm definitely open to it.
He's easy to get in touch with. Sorry, there's going to be an ambulance going by. Yeah, really easy to get in touch with. Wonderful person. Happy to go from like a 100 level conversation all the way up to a 500 level or 400 level conversation. So I don't like Bitcoin. I don't like trying to develop a new currency. I don't like proof of work. I don't like trying to replace fiat currencies and so forth. But there are some things in blockchain that I do kind of like. And some of them would be kind of like how the prior caller was talking about smart contracts. So I use PayPal to do like a lot of revenue generation for myself. And because PayPal is a centralized ownership system and they have, their board and their C-suite that determines how their project goes, they just raised their fees from 2.49% to 3.49% and 29 cents per transaction to 49 cents per transaction. So to me, if you look at what Robinhood did to people, if you look at what PayPal does, if you look at what Stripe does, if you look at what Venmo does, since they are a centralized structure system, they're able to arbitrarily at any point kind of change like fees, change contracts, change terms and so forth. And one of the things that I do like about trying to move towards decentralized payment rails or decentralized systems is the only way to actually then go about changing what those payment processing fees would be. It would require maybe a 51% consensus vote of all the token owners, which can become a problem, as you were alluding to, if that ownership is concentrated very densely. Or you can write in that it would take maybe like a 60% vote in order to change like the payment protocols. So the things that I'm interested in crypto, quote, currencies for aren't anything to do with cryptocurrencies. It's really just trying to change the way contract language works. And rather than like if you and I have a contract and it gets broken and I have to take it to court and so forth, I don't really like going that way. So I do like trying to codify, automate, and program as much of it as possible cryptographically. And yes, you are relying on the cryptographics to be good, and you're relying on it not to be hacked and so forth. In my opinion, our current banking system requires on not being hacked and some of these things. I'll pause there for a moment to give you the microphone back at your show.
No, you're prepared, man. You're ready to talk. No, I think, right off the bat, you leave me very little to debate you with, because most of my problem with the space is with cryptocurrency and how the advocates position it as. So I see what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of it. But I think the thing is, with me, I don't know if this is the answer. Like, I think obviously, yes, I totally agree that it's bad that like we're all beholden to PayPal or the banks. But I think a lot of crypto advocates come across like when you criticize it, whether it be a crypto or the blockchain, or focusing on what you're talking about too, they're like, oh, so you must agree with the current system. That's not the case. Like, what if the actual answer we just don't have yet? I mean, it sucks. I'm sure that's one of the reasons why they don't want to come to terms with that, because it sucks to think that like the answer to the problem we just don't have yet. We don't know. My worry is that we go into this new system, and I mean, I don't think we will, but if advocates get their way, I think it could be worse. And if we go into this new system, maybe there won't be such an easy way out, because I do think it's harder to hold people accountable in this system. Like you said, it's good that it's decentralized in that way, but that, one of the good things about PayPal or the banks is that the buck does stop with somebody. There is someone that the buck stops with. Like, you will get a resolution with PayPal at some point. Like, it sucks that it's...
I don't agree with that.
Go ahead.
I would point to what I don't like equities trading. I don't like stocks. I don't like this kind of stuff. But I would point to what Robinhood did. And they told people that you cannot do this with 50 different companies, and you cannot do that with 50 different companies. And then, they just paid like a $70 million settlement fee. But that's not going to cover the losses of the people that weren't able to engage with their assets at the time. And so, like, you can take it through arbitration. Maybe you can take it through the court system. But you have to hire an attorney. You have to go through like a lot of legalese and a lot of legal processes. So I don't think that the current iteration of crypto is, completely solving it yet. But I also don't really think that we actually have fair or like enforceable contracts in the moment either.
See, here's the thing. I think this. I don't know what your political ideologies are. So respect to whatever they are. I'm not sure. We're not having that discussion right now. But for me, as someone who is a leftist, I think that direction takes it into a dangerously libertarian space. And I am extremely cautious about that, because to me, when there's bad government, like I agree, it is ridiculously expensive to go through the courts. Absolutely. Now, to me, the fix to that is not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It is to fix the court system so it is more affordable and more accessible for people to go within this. Like, I think the justice system should work for people. It seems to be much better to have this happen within the governmental system than to go outside of that and have people just basically, which then you're just asking for private enterprise to step in, because that is what will happen. That is what will happen. You'll have, I think you'll have private companies show up and say, we are the arbitration for these things, and we'll take over here. And due to a lot of people in this space believing in that sort of thing, I think they'd be very open to it, because it gets government away.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on a lot of this. To give I don't know what my political ideology would be. I was a Bernie Sanders campaign staffer. I'm somewhere off on the left side of things. One thing I typed in your chat is the reason that I started researching blockchain was because I didn't feel that many people on the left were. And it was kind of one of those things where it just like, it seemed like a role needed to be filled for somebody to kind of like go in and do, some of the things. I don't like them for everything. Maybe one thing that I would like is for global remittance payments, it's like there's about like $650 billion that's sent per year from migrant workers back to their domestic nations and so forth. And most of them run through Western Union at the moment. So you have to deal with, exorbitant fees and thus forth. If a person can get whatever fiat they would be paid in, go into a digital asset for like a brief amount of time, send that across digital rails, and then have the recipient reconvert it back into the local currency, it is most times cheaper than what Western Union offers or what the current like payment rails offer. And is it going to be? I'm not even really a crypto defender, but all that I'm just saying is like we've got a lot of research to do on a lot of these different protocols, and Bitcoin does not equal like cryptocurrency, or Bitcoin doesn't equal blockchain. Like I hate proof of work. I don't even really like proof of stake because, as I was saying, like if you have proof of stake, then if there's a couple wallets that own 37% of an asset, then they're going to be able to have like bigger dominion over the protocol. But I just want to keep like researching in the space and keep trying to figure out what would be going on. One thing that I might like for a smart contract, if we still have to have wage labor, is let's say that I work at a gas station. I think that as soon as I clock in, my smart contract should begin. And then as soon as I clock out, I think that I should be given my money immediately. And I think that that can be codified, and I think that can be programmed, and I think that can be written in. And the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States is putting out their paper on central bank digital currencies. I think it's in like July or August. And my concern on CBDCs is they're all going to be auditable, verifiable, like viewable transactions in blockchains. So they're going to be able to see exactly where we spent or exactly what we spent on, and or they might even be able to time program like UBI payments in that, like you have to spend it in X amount of time or you're going to be losing like the coin or so forth. Russia is just piloting a CBDC in 12 different cities. I know China is really pushing forward with the digital yuan and trying to get into CBDC payment rails. And I don't really like any of them. I don't like fiat currencies. I don't like hard currencies. I don't like cryptocurrencies. But it's just it's a place that I think that needs research.
Right. No, I listen, I can't address everything you just said. But I will say this. I think I agree with you that this is being ignored by progressives in the left, this whole space. That's why I'm trying to do something about that. I'm probably doing it for different reasons than you. I have a more obviously negative view on the space. But I want to stress, I don't understand. I don't think you think this of me from our conversation that seems that way, but it seems like whenever I say something about it, I get one of two things. I'm just hating on it for no reason, or B, I am not researched into it. And granted, I will say, I probably don't know as much as someone like you. But I mean, I'm not just blindly going into this, and what I've read and what I've seen, I don't like. It's just that simple. Like, if I wish it was something, it's much easier for me to come across something I like and to come on here and say, "Hey guys, let me tell you why you got to look into this. It's great." That could be fun. I'm not just hating on it because it's for the hell of it. I think there is a real issue with this whole issue, this whole industry, this whole space. I have cause for concern. I really try to be fair and I think it's proof that I point out that there are things that I do like about it, especially when I mentioned about blockchain. Like, I could always just say I hate it all, but I don't, at least what I've seen so far. I'm open to new information. I don't know what I could push back on you right now, being that you've already came out against what is my main critique of the space, which is cryptocurrency. The technology seems to be what you're focused on. That's something where I've seen the pluses, I've seen the minuses. I'm still doing work looking into it. I think there's a gray area there, to be quite honest.
I started doing research on this kind of stuff in like October of 2020. And what I'll say in deep thanks of you is it was difficult. It was alienating. It was, there was a lot of pushback, even just like doing any kind of research. ANCAP label would be thrown around, libertarian label would be thrown around. And it doesn't sound like you're coming from a place of ignorance. It sounds like you're coming from a place of curiosity and just wanting to do the research and do the exploration. And that's all that I really ask. Like, I don't care if it comes up that it's good. I don't care if it comes up that it's bad. But I like people that are willing to do the deeper dives into, trying to understand like different protocols, different layers, and what would be, taking place. So when I saw your article come out and I see that you're doing this, hats off to you. I really appreciate it.
Oh, why, thank you. I really appreciate it. Feel free to call in anytime. Feel free to reach out to me if you ever want to discuss anything. I'm really interested in this world because I think people need to be more aware of what's going on. I think there's a lot of shady things going on here, as I laid out. I think there is some beneficial technology that could be extracted from this if it ever goes sideways. I'm interested in it. It seems like there's more to be done here in terms of the research. I don't know if it'll go in the positive direction that even someone who's cautious but optimistic like you are. I'm much more pessimistic on the space, but I definitely appreciate the call.
Yeah, I'll send you a DM with the 3 people that have taught me something. They're all off to the left somewhere. It's 10p2 on Twitter, Cybernetics on Twitter, and the Blockchain Socialist. A few of them have been involved in actual coding within blockchains and so forth, and they have kind of helped me at least get like a base level of understanding. So I'll send you a DM, with their handles and so forth, because they'd be happy to talk. And they're much more technically knowledgeable than I am, and just much more knowledgeable than I am in general. So
right. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I appreciate that. Definitely send that to me. Have a
All
great
right,
night.
thank you so much.
Enjoy your road trip.
Oh yeah, so I'm actually going to different like no-till farms, like high tunnel farms, like hydroponics and aquaponics, and making films about like their agricultural techniques. So I've been on the road for maybe like 3.5 weeks now, I think.
Oh wow. Hit me up when that film is out.
Okay. All right. Cool. Great. Thank you so much.
Take care. All right. Now listen, I think I'm on crypto itself. I don't think I'll ever be sold, quite frankly. Oh, whoops. What did I do here? 1 second. Oh, okay, just Matt. We got another caller. Let me go back to the calls. Is this Renee?
Yes.
Renee, you gonna go on the video?
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Renee, how are you, buddy? Oh, he hung up. Oh, he's got to call back in because he didn't have his video set. All right. All right. Oh, no, my mouse is dying. This could be bad if it dies before the show ends, because then I can't shut the show off. Yeah, listen, all right, let me take Renee's call.
Yeah,
Renee,
okay.
Renee, before you talk, give me 1 second, actually. You're on the air. I'm going to put you down for 1 second so you're on, but I just want to address what Brad was talking about for a second.
Okay.
So, listen, I'm totally open to talking to people. I've made it clear to anyone who has an issue with my takes on this whole space to reach out to me. I highly doubt you'll convince me on cryptocurrency. I don't think it'll be possible. At least not at this stage in the game. Maybe if there's some big new revelation or new thing that changes the entire game, we'll see. But I am completely negative on it. I think it's not good for a variety of reasons. When it comes to blockchain technology and some other things involved, I think those things can be extracted out of this space and used in beneficial ways. That caller from Australia had some very interesting. I find his take to be much more in line with where I would probably land. But I'm totally open because I don't think this is black and white in some aspects. There is some gray area here. And I think we'll just have to see how this stuff develops, certain aspects of this develops to find out what happens. All right, let me pull Renee up. 1 second, Renee. I want to turn your volume on. Guest up. And Renee, you are up. How you doing, Renee?
Great. Everybody kind of like discussed some aspects of what I wanted to ask about, which was about the NFTs. You already said you didn't like understand it, or you're just beginning to like research on it. Yeah, I was like interested in it because one of the like artists that I follow, like a guitarist, Adrian Belew, was like mentioning it, like sort of like an alternative. And so what's going on with the record companies and of course Spotify and all that, in order to have like some sort of control on his work, especially since he's had like experiences with offering as a product like very, very minute spaces of sound, like loops and things like that. he like helped create
Right.
like an app
Right.
where that kind of thing was distributed.
Uh,
And yeah, yeah, I'm not sure if that translates well in the world of hardcore, but bear with me on that. But you might be curious because I was like looking up on it, and there was like a GIF, like of a GIF of a cat or something like that, and that was like kind of like $15,000 that was being traded
yeah, I
on.
mean, listen, the NFT thing, I think, if there are artists like making money off of this, that's great for artists. But I also see just a lot of
Right.
people like just using it to sell dumb shit and it's all just like based on like
Like the
a
cat,
meme
like the
and
cat.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and like listen, I guess yeah, fine, have at it, but I mean, what we're basically seeing is it really is a very small industry that's getting a lot of attention. If you look at who's buying these NFTs for big money, it's just a few major players. Like it's a status symbol in a certain world. There is a music artist, not a music artist, music producer in the Mid East, who, if you track, he is the buyer of the vast majority of these big NFTs that get coverage. Like it literally is like such a small space with just a few people responsible for these big money transactions. And because the media hears, oh my God, someone just sold a gift for $100,000 or whatever, it gets all this attention. But I mean, that's real. It's a very small space. It's just all a facade, really.
Yeah, you could see that like similar with the infamous. I mean, I'm sure your musician friends have told you about this, like, the Clone Centaur,
What is that?
which is kind of the Clone Centaur. It's a kind of like a guitar pedal, like sort of like this big. That's like a distortion box, and because it got like a certain like, it became infamous, like the Big Muff, for instance. But this was because it had like a vintage value, and also because of the circuity, and perhaps because it gets a certain warmth, which I don't know why a germanium wouldn't just do the job. So it started to get hyped up, and all of a sudden, like recently, like a vintage Clone Centaur, I mean, would get like about like $15,000, and the manufacturer was like, "Look, I'm not," had to like post like an explanation saying, "Look, I have nothing to do with the value and all this. This would just merely hype and like demand on the whole thing."
Right. I think my cat just came in here. I'm sorry. One second. What is that? What is that going on? All right. Well, maybe he didn't come in, and there is something in this room that should not be.
A ghost cat?
I don't know
All
if you
cats are
watched.
fast.
I don't know if you watched the majority part earlier today, but I was on with Brandon, Pretty Bad Lefty on Twitter.
Right.
And he had a moment where he was talking. And
Wasn't he Chad Vigorous before?
I think
that's
so.
another
Yes,
guy.
yes.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
of a sudden, out of the corner of his eye, he sees a mouse in his apartment, and he goes, reaction I've never heard from him before. He's like, ah!
Yes. Supposedly, like.
I think I might
Mr.
have one of
Tough
those
Guy.
moments. What was that? Something. There was some noise in here. I'm sorry. I'm distracted now.
Well, it can't be
but
a mouse.
Renee,
with a cat in it.
thank you for
No, and there's another thing I wanted to mention. I'll say it real quick.
Go ahead.
And if you want, you can respond later. And the other thing was like regarding this cryptocurrency was also Venezuela with the petrodollar, or the petro for short. And because obviously something that could be like abstract and like traded on like electronically online and all that could like go against like the freezing of actives and such. Like you could go like they can like or like what happened to their like assets by the United States government and all that. If you want, you can answer that, and I'll just log off.
Say that one more time. You were a little bit.
All right, the value of cryptocurrency, like for like the one of the callers was saying about like like the Hong Kong publication. So from the tanky side, I'd say like more like in Grimm's in my view of things. In the case of Venezuela, that's trading in petro, that they obviously have something like very very useful and very material as oil is.
Oh, right,
And
right.
they're
It's funny.
very-
It's funny when crypto advocates call, fiat currency the petrodollar, because we're literally burning.
But this is literally a petro though. It's
yeah,
called a petro.
I mean, it is because of how much it's contributing to the emissions, global emissions.
Right. I see. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Okay.
misunderstanding your question. If that's not what you're.
Yeah,
pointing out.
yeah. You just see that Venezuela is using cryptocurrency now.
Oh,
Perhaps as a way.
I can see why they're doing it. I mean, I could see why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But that's for different reasons.
But at the same time, that's kind of like trying to demolish the whole like stranglehold at the World Bank and of course the treasury and all that, like the power of the dollar and all that, and
Right.
the case that
But did
assets can be seized.
Maybe I'm wrong, but Venezuela didn't use USD, right? They have their own.
Well, prior to Chavez and all that, yeah, but I mean, still they had like earnings and all that abroad, and that got seized.
Right.
Like if
Right.
they
That's
were,
why they use right. No,
Similar,
but I'm thinking
similarly to
what I'm
Iran
thinking
and
is
all
El
that.
Salvador, where their main currency actually is USD, and everyone there uses it.
Right.
And how are you gonna how is Bitcoin gonna take off there when there's so few ways to do that exchange? Like, not everyone's going to be able to use. Not everyone has a phone. Not everyone's gonna be able to use Bitcoin. And like I said earlier in the majority report, there's something like 3 Bitcoin ATMs in all of El Salvador.
Right.
How does that serve the
In the
entire?
case of Venezuela, it's supposedly that the main bank will be dealing with this parallelly, and you can just go to the corner and all that.
Right.
In the midst of scarcity, perhaps, and perhaps massive of migration and all that. But I mean,
Right. Well,
um,
thanks for the
okay.
call, Renee. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
Okay, likewise.
All right. Have a good night.
I was more direct to the point this time.
You were really great. I try not to cut you off, but sometimes
Right.
you do go off on a tangent. So I try to corral you in because you make good points, but you just need to be roped into right. You know it. Take care, buddy. Always a pleasure when we talk. Renee's great. If I didn't want to talk to him, I wouldn't take his calls. Let's go back to super chats, and then unless we get another call or two, I think. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. So let's do super chats, and then that'll be the one more thing, and then that'll be the show. Cola Dict with a super chat. All these crypto coins are produced exclusively to be sold. That's the definition of a commodity, not a currency. Exactly. Murphy with another super chat. Digital Ponzi scheme. King Cyrus the Great with a super chat. This is Cyberpunk 2077, the documentary. 2077, the documentary, not the game at this point, right? Proto with a super chat. I put $500 into IXIC coin. It went to $3 it went from $3 to $15. I got in at 14 because I thought it would go higher. I fell asleep and lost $300. I wait 2 weeks. It's at 92. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, you gotta be. I mean, I wouldn't at this point. I wouldn't. Or a very, if you feel like you need to. I mean, very small amount. Like, you know, taking a $50, having $50 go to $10 is a lot easier to handle than, you know, and 50 it's too much, honestly. Just don't do it at all. Samantha Sider with a super chat. Crypto is a scam and the bubble is bursting. Abby with a super chat. Here's some money. Binder, money was tight this check, so my Patreon subscription probably flopped. Will renew in AM. Oh, Abby, if you can't, please don't. I'm serious. You're too kind. Take care of yourself. And come back when you can. Whenever you feel like you can. Alan, my dad with the super chat. Talk about your Cucker Tarlson moment. Oh, right. Let me make my pops paid for a super chat. Can you believe it? So I gotta one second. Let me open this up. Gotta give my pops his money's worth. All right, so I talked about this on the Majority Report earlier. So a tweet of mine was featured on the Tucker Carlson show last night. That was Thursday, June. Not Thursday. Today's Thursday. That was Wednesday, June 30th episode of Tucker Carlson. And basically, for the let's pull it up on the screen. This is the tweet he put up there. Here we go. I said, Eric Adams in a statement here is baffled that when the vote counting process plays out, the vote totals change from what they were on election night. This is the argument Trump used to declare voter fraud. And they highlighted that last sentence. Now, for those who don't know the context there, the New York City mayoral race was last Tuesday. The results are still not finalized, but a couple days ago, the New York City Board of Elections decided to release some preliminary unofficial results from Election Day only, meaning absentee ballots weren't counted. And the results were released. It showed, due to ranked choice voting, which is when you can rank more than one candidate, you could rank your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth picks. And what happens is, as each of your candidates get eliminated, your vote goes to your next pick. So basically, you could vote for 5 of your favorite candidates, which pretty much guarantees that your vote will count no matter what. It's a great way to vote for someone who's totally in line with you, even if they might not have the obvious chance to win, and maybe they can pull it off with ranked choice voting. Or the other way around, you can go down the line and pick someone who you think would at least be better than your least favorite choice, and vote for them, and maybe they can have a better chance, and they can win. I really like ranked choice voting. So under the ranked choice, and that's what happened in the New York City mayoral race. It was the first time ranked choice voting was used in New York for a mayoral race, and what happened is Eric Adams, who was winning for first choice vote by a lot, as candidates were eliminated, 2 candidates, Maya Wiley and Catherine Garcia, started chipping away at his lead. And in the final tally, which brings you to Garcia versus Adams, the number of votes separating the two, I think it's less than 15,000. And there's about 120,000 plus absentee ballots still out. So Adams could lose. This is anyone's race right now, or it could be Garcia's race. Even Wiley, the absentee ballots could push her over Garcia in the second to last round, and we could see a Wiley versus Adams race. So it's very close. It's a 400 votes between Wiley and Garcia for that to get to that final round versus Adams. Well, what happened was the vote was off in that unofficial tally. The New York City Board of Elections accidentally added something like 130,000 test ballots to the vote counts. And Eric Adams' campaign called this out. And they were right. Everyone who thought they were saying something else were wrong, including me. They were right on this. But the reason myself and many other pundits, left, right, and center, called him out at first was because Eric Adams initially cried wolf. There's no other way to explain this. before Election Day, before people even voted on Election Day, the Adams campaign, realizing that ranked choice voting is going to work against them, started to call into question the entire electoral process. They started saying this is probably going to be illegitimate. It'll probably steal the election from Adams. They even went so far to call ranked choice voting racist. So there was a reason to be skeptical of Adams coming out and denying what the election looks to be saying, what the results are. But fair case, he was correct on this matter, even though it wasn't the same thing he was saying. But the right is using this moment to claim that this was what Adams was always saying. The vote count being wrong because they accidentally added test ballots shows that all elections are rigged. There needs to be audits everywhere. And Trump was right to call into question his own presidential election in 2020. And it's proof that he's right to say election fraud is running rampant. Once again, this is not what Adams was saying. This is what happened was New York City Board of Elections accidentally added test ballots to an unofficial early tally. You criticize them all you want. Absolutely. They should be criticized for this. Huge, they should have pie on their face for this error. Huge problem. It undermines the process for sure. But again, this was an unofficial tally. This was not a finalized result. Absentee ballots still need to be counted. Once this was pointed out, they corrected it. And this was not the issue Adams had. His issue was with ranked choice voting. This just happened to be a completely separate issue that actually happened. So, the New York City Board of Elections, along with what the Eric Adams campaign previously said about the electoral process, really gave the right a nice little ammunition to use to call the integrity of elections into question. And I mean, yeah, you should question this stuff, sure. But there's a way to go about it, and it's not by outright saying there's electoral fraud. I mean, the correct way would usually be, and a lot of candidates do this, is to file a lawsuit to look into an election. That way you're not undermining the process to the public so they don't believe in voting. Or they start spreading misinformation before we even know the truth. It should go through the legalities and the recount processes or whatever needs to be done. Unbelievable, though. But I had my moment on Tucker. Hopefully it's not the last. Honestly. And what else? What else did I want to talk about? All right, so I think that's it for the Skype for tonight. I'm going to hang up Skype because we're not going to have time for any more, I don't think. And let me talk about this. This was, all right, so there was a big scandal this past week when all of a sudden a Medicare for All event was hijacked, apparently, and a literal neo-Nazi was announced as being a speaker at one of the various satellite events. The actual organization is called, it's very new. It's from just regular, ordinary activists. The March for Medicare for All. I believe that's the name. I don't want to get the name wrong. Give me a second to make sure. Yes, the March for Medicare for All. You know what messes me up? Their Twitter handle. Too many fours and M4 all. It messed me up for a second. But I was right. They are putting together a multiple city march. And on their social media channels, they announced this past week that Matthew H. Beck was going to be the keynote speaker at an event. at one of the events. And now, for those of you who don't know, and so there was a picture of him that was plastered up there too. Matthew H. Beck, looking at the photo, you would know right away that it was Matthew Heimbeck, a prominent neo-Nazi. It seems to be muddled about what actually occurred. According to reporting, and I saw a great story from Kelly Weil, has been a guest on the show in the Daily Beast on this. It seems like someone got into their private chat channel on Slack, announced these speakers to one of their graphic designers, who then went ahead and created the graphics. And then these graphics somehow got posted to the social media channels to announce that this neo-Nazi was going to be one of the guest speakers at a March for Medicare for All. Then there was a bunch of drama where people were knocking the March for Medicare for All organizers, and then the March for Medicare for All organizers started arguing with those people, saying, how can you say something, how could you knock or dunk on people who are trying to put this together? I tried to stay out of this. I tried to stay out of this, and I did. I mean, I didn't want to be a part of this internal drama here. But I do want to speak out against, I do want to speak out about what I think should be the takeaway here. Yes, I know that the March for Medicare for All seems to be organized by a number of fans of or members of a specific faction on the left that, myself and other people like the Majority Report and TYT and the Humanist Report and Rational National and whoever butts heads with. This seems to be an event that's being put together by Force the Vote people, by fans of Jimmy Dore. It's fine. I mean, I don't have an issue with that. In fact, I encourage anyone to get active about pushing Medicare for All. I was on the Humanist Report's first panel show, Dystopian Times, with someone involved with the March for Medicare for All. She was on the panel, and she had a really, Joy Savage, I believe her name was, and she had a real moving, touching story about her own medical issues. And she did give me a little mention when she said how the Force the Vote people involved. I didn't say anything because I felt like her story was more important. So I let that go. But yeah, I thought her story was very touching. And I support any sort of activism to push for Medicare for All. This March for Medicare for All seems legit and fine, and I encourage people to look into it if they're interested. I don't think people should dunk on them, honestly. And I think it's unhelpful. Yes, it seems like they are inexperienced in this stuff and unorganized, which, offer a critique, sure. Offer advice, sure. But I'm not going to knock people who are putting this together. I'm not going to do that. On the other end, I have been advocating for these very people who were involved in this and got rolled by these trolls who promoted Matthew Heimbeck and fooled them with that. I have implored them to please stop downplaying the right, to understand at the very least who these people are and know that they are not your friends as they go about pushing for some alliance with, they say a top-bottom alliance, how everyone left, right, center needs to get together and fight the powers that be. Well, the fact of the matter is that not everyone who you view as being in your same class societal class or economic class is going to be on your side. We see that. We see that. You cannot befriend some of these people. You can try to reach out and bring them to your side, but what I see a lot of is you guys bringing these people onto different platforms and then letting them promote their views instead of trying to convince them to come to your side. And it's just unhelpful. I've seen these many of these same people downplay the role the far right plays in making sure a lot of what they want doesn't happen for some reason. I've seen the downplaying of what happened on January 6th. I implore you to please take this seriously. You guys just got undermined by, and it seems like signs are pointing to, and this seems to be just speculation right now, but signs are pointed to someone in the Boogaloo movement being the person who trolled them. The movement that a lot of these people have been reaching out to, Boogaloo Boys, which I've warned them about, seems to have been the one who trolled them with the Matthew Heimbeck thing and tried to undermine what they're putting together. I don't know what it's gonna take for you guys just to understand, like, you know, not everyone is gonna be your friend. Not everyone's gonna be on your side, and you should get to know that there are forces on the right that are you cannot align with. You cannot have an allyship with. So the short is, I'm not going to dunk on anyone advocating for Medicare for all. They all have their stories. They all have their reasons for doing it, for going about it the way they go about it. I'm not talking, for people who are dropping different names in the chat, I'm not talking about major names. I'm talking about just ordinary, regular people trying to put this together who are probably the fans of the people you're talking about. I'm not going to get into the influencers in that space and the names in that space. But keep doing what you're doing in terms of putting this stuff together. Keep advocating for Medicare for all. Please take from this that maybe what I've been warning you guys about has some merit to it. I mean, it does, but maybe, I'm saying for you, maybe you should look into it. You should get to know these people. You should get to know that these are not going to be people on your side. And that way you can protect your movement from it. They're going to undermine what you want at every step of the game. They don't want Medicare for all. Medicare for all requires more government. You should realize that. If you're an anti-government person, you don't want Medicare for all. And if you want Medicare for all and you're an anti-government person, please explain to me who you think provides the Medicare for all. So there's a lot of people on the right you will not convince on Medicare for all. So you cannot align with them. They're not going to fight with you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think if there's no more super chats, that is the show. It was a marathon. I was all by myself, no guest. I'm quite honestly exhausted. I have gone 3 hours. Should I go fourth? No, I'm kidding. But I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you learned something. I thought the conversations in the second half were fantastic. And have a great 4th of July. If I don't see you before that, maybe there's a last minute stream. Who knows? Never know. Maybe Sam will do another last minute. Sam Cedar will do another shocker on Steven Crowder, which will force me to do a last minute live stream. But barring that. See you guys soon. Have a great night. I've already messed up the intro by saying see you guys already. So I'll just repeat myself again and do the right thing. Oh, and if you're not a patron already and you're watching the live stream, please, patreon.com/MattBinder. If you could afford to do so, I'd really appreciate it. We did lose some patrons because it's the first of the month. And what happens is people's cards do get declined because that's when Patreon charges everybody. So we are definitely down right now. So if you could afford to become a patron, thank you. If not, support the show in other ways by subscribing to the YouTube channel, telling your friends about it, etc., etc. And aside from that, I will see you all next time. Oh wait, let me do one of these for the 4th of July holiday. Oh wait, wrong thing. Take care, everybody. See you all next time on Doomed.